This group of female students had just finished school and gathered to smoke. While they were chatting happily, a young man holding flowers and carrying a huge teddy bear on his back came over. He looked like he had just broken up. He put the teddy bear in the trash and kept cursing. The three female students saw this and exclaimed that he was so handsome. When the bored young man was about to leave, a girl in the group rushed out. She wanted to ask the young man to buy her 3 packs of cigarettes. Unexpectedly, the young man said that smoking was not something that minors should do. After saying that, he went to buy them smoking cessation candy. Before leaving, he also told them to spend their youth on something meaningful. Unexpectedly, the girl jumped up high after hearing this and landed right in front of the young man. Before the young man could react, the girl placed a kiss on his lips. The girl said that this was his reward for worrying about them. The girl also said that he was the first person to convince her to quit smoking. The boy was stunned by the girl's sudden action. This rebellious girl's name is Site Buell. She possesses incredible athletic ability and extraordinary super fighting strength. Site Buell can easily defeat 4 people by herself without much effort. In contrast to the energetic and enthusiastic personality of youth, Daehyun is a calm person and often sympathizes with others. He always helps people in difficult times. 2 people with 2 completely different personalities but are inseparable. After a while, Daehyun took over his family's convenience store. Because of his handsome appearance, he attracted many girls to support him. The convenience store also provides selfie services with customers to advertise the convenience store. Normally, his parents and he would take turns switching shifts, but his father had a stomach disease and could not go to work. So Daehyun found a part-time employee to replace his father. Temporarily, Daehyun came to replace his mother at 7:30 in the morning. School was out at 4:30 in the afternoon. Daehyun combed his hair neatly to welcome the students and customers. Being busy for a while took up 24 hours. Early in the morning, his mother brought Daehyun underwear. She found a reason for Daehyun to continue watching the store, or else find a part-time employee. But the convenience store's revenue was almost non-existent, so there was no money to hire part-time employees. Daehyun had no choice but to endure the drowsiness and continue working. After that, he took pictures with the girls with dark circles on his faces. He was so tired that he decided to hire a part-time employee. Site Buell had a younger sister named Eunbiul, who was bad at studying but liked to fight. Eunbiul's dream was to debut in a girl group. Site Buell was worried about her sister, but in terms of fighting skills, Site Buell was slightly better. Site Buell applied for the part-time employee position. Daehyun remembered that this was the girl who smoked before, so he tried every way to get rid of Site Buell. Daehyun seemed to be in a bad mood. Site Buell saw that and poured him herbal tea to help relieve his fatigue. After drinking the tea, Daehyun felt sleepy, so he laid down on the table. After he woke up, the convenience store was full of customers. Site Buell helped him manage the store. Site Buell thought she would be hired, but Daehyun said that the interview would continue tomorrow. Site Buell pretended to cry to attract the customers' attention. Daehyun had no choice but to agree to keep her. The next day, after filling out the employee information, Site Buell would officially go to work. Daehyun worriedly watched her every step in secret. He was afraid that she would resort to stealing. After Site Buell got off work, Daehyun discovered that 10 bills were missing from the cash register. He remembered that when Site Buell got off work, she had some cash in her back pocket, so he immediately became suspicious and went to the room to check the camera. But Daehyun couldn't see Site Buell's actions directly. When he called her to ask her about it, she didn't answer. So he went online to search for a case of a part-time employee stealing money from a store. One of the videos depicted a 22-year-old girl. She filled in fake employee information to steal money from the store and then disappeared. Daehyun couldn't help but think of Site Buell, so he immediately ran to the address she wrote down. The house number was 1005. He didn't expect to wander into a prostitution ring and be considered a customer. He was finally released after explaining clearly to the police. Daehyun quickly returned to the convenience store but found Site Buell working there. She had cleared the shelves and the money was in the cash register. Although Site Buell wasn't caught stealing, Daehyun still couldn't completely trust her. Daehyun imagined that he suddenly came to the store and then ruined Site Buell's plan to steal money. The female police officer passed by the convenience store and asked about the part-time employee stealing money. Site Buell heard it just in time and said that her house number was 1006. When she filled out the information, she didn't write clearly, so the number 6 looked like a 5. Site Buell got angry and left. It turned out that Daehyun's mother was in a hurry to use the money, so she temporarily took it without telling him. Site Buell didn't want to interfere in other people's family matters, so she didn't do anything. Daehyun quickly apologized. Site Buell left disappointed and warned Daehyun not to follow. Site Buell talked to Eunbiul and asked her not to associate with gangsters. Once they were seen, they would be treated like them. In the end, they were the ones who suffered. After being sad, Site Buell started started her part-time job selling alcohol. Then it was her shift at the convenience store. Sae-pyeol didn't care about Dae-hyun, who was flattering her, but because he was so cute, she wasn't angry anymore. The two made up. One day, Dae-hyun waited for Sae-pyeol to change shifts. His girlfriend Yeonju asked to meet him at the hotel in the evening. He rushed straight to the meeting place. Sae-pyeol felt regretful when she heard that Dae-hyun had a girlfriend. She thought to herself that she would be with him day and night, so he would soon have feelings for her. Sae-pyeol also asked Dae-hyun to help convey her apology to Yeonju. Dae-hyun went to the hotel, but Yeonju just wanted to drag him to the gym with her. To disturb Dae-hyun's date, Sae-pyeol kept sending messages. She also sent photos to prove that she was serious about her work. Dae-hyun was exercising when he saw Sae-pyeol's beauty in a selfie and smiled. Dae-hyun's best friend Dal-sik called and said that Sae-pyeol was hanging out with friends at the store. This made a lot of noise and prevented Dal-sik from focusing on composing. Dal-sik is an adult-themed mangaka author for online readers. Hearing that, Dae-hyun immediately returned to the convenience store. He thought these girls wanted to cheat on the food and drinks at his store. Sae-pyeol turned around and saw Dae-hyun. She immediately stood up, her face flushed with alcohol. Then she smiled again. Sae-pyeol drank too much and fell asleep in Dae-hyun's arms. The other friends coaxed Dae-hyun to join them. The curly-haired friend's name was Gimbi. She was the daughter of the high school principal. Gimbi had not been doing well in school until now and was still in high school, and Gimbi's best friend's name was Eunjo. Yeonju followed Dae-hyun back here and witnessed this scene. She didn't expect her boyfriend to abandon her to go play with some young girls. Dae-hyun chatted with Sae-pyeol's friends. They said that 3 years ago, Sae-pyeol gave Dae-hyun her first kiss and kissed not yet. Now Sae-pyeol works at the convenience store because she likes Dae-hyun. Dae-hyun drank too much and quickly fell asleep. Dae-hyun and Sae-pyeol's sleeping positions are very similar. Then Sae-pyeol's friends looked at Yeonju in the distance. Yeonju saw that and quickly lay down and told the driver to drive away. Was afraid that the other girls would find her. Sae-pyeol helped Dae-hyun into the store. She applied for a part-time job just to see Dae-hyun every day. After saying a few things, she wished him good night. Dae-hyun grabbed Sae-pyeol's arm as she was about to leave. He mumbled, "Don't go." Sae-pyeol covered her mouth excitedly and continued to stay by Dae-hyun's side. But she hadn't been happy for a few seconds when Dae-hyun called Yeonju's name. Sae-pyeol's expression immediately changed and she hit Dae-hyun, who was lying on the sofa. Yeonju kept thinking about the scene of Dae-hyun drinking with the girls. She thought of a way to send a polite and charming message that would express her dissatisfaction without appearing too selfish. She thought for a long time but still couldn't send the message. Dae-hyun dreamed that Yeonju had gone with someone else, so he woke up with a start. Then he looked at himself in the mirror and saw that his nose was bleeding. Dae-hyun only felt a slight pain in his head, but he didn't know that Sae-pyeol had hit him last night. Dae-hyun woke up and changed shifts with Sae-pyeol. He didn't remember the scene last night when he pulled Sae-pyeol's hand and told her not to go. As soon as Sae-pyeol left, a handsome guy in a university uniform bought 2 packs of cigarettes. After the guests left, Dae-hyun felt thirsty, so he opened a bottle of water to drink. While drinking the water, he vaguely remembered drinking with Sae-pyeol's friends. He looked at the cash register and saw that the snacks and beer hadn't been paid for. These 3 girls definitely wanted to eat his food for free. Dae-hyun was about to contact Sae-pyeol when he saw Yeonju unsend the message at 2 a.m. He was drinking happily at that time. He was afraid that Yeonju had seen it, but then he reassured himself that she definitely hadn't seen it. But why did she unsend the message? Yeonju was filled with worry at this moment. She remembered Dae-hyun giggling while exercising, and then she received a text from Dae-hyun apologizing for not replying to her text in time. Yeonju replied that she would invite him to dinner. Dae-hyun of course agreed immediately. Sae-pyeol slept in, but her mind still remembered Dae-hyun's words, "Don't go." She hugged the bear that he threw away and remembered the name Yeonju. In a split second, this violent girl turned to beat the poor bear. She calls Dae-hyun a jerk. Dae-hyun goes out to eat with Yeonju and conveniently asks what message she sent last night. Yeonju avoids the question and asks Dae-hyun what he did all night. Dae-hyun makes up an excuse that there were a lot of customers last night and he was a bit busy, but Dae-hyun doesn't know that Yeonju already knows everything. After dinner, Dae-hyun takes Yeonju home. He also wants to go in to visit her parents, but she thinks it's not the right time yet because he hasn't even explained what happened last night. After that, Dae-hyun plans to fire Sae-pyeol when he returns. Dae-hyun tells Yeonju that Sae-pyeol and her friends had a party in front of the convenience store yesterday. Yeonju wants to hear the truth from Dae-hyun, but he ignores the story about him drinking with the girls. He just says that he's an adult, so he severely reprimands the kids and then fires them. Yeonju just watches Dae-hyun make up stories and laughs. At first, wanted to fire Sae-pyeol, but it cannot be denied that after Sae-pyeol went to work with her beauty appearances, she attracted many many customers. There were even people who were willing to come from far away just to see her once. Daehyun was watching Saitbyul outside the door. Daehyun was thinking about Gembi and Unjo saying that Saitbyul liked him. Seeing Saitbyul waving cutely, he unconsciously reacted the same way. He also understood Saitbyul's body language very well. There were a lot of customers today, so the sales increased. Then, she signaled him to come in. Saitbyul helped the customer pay. The customer said that there were a few other households near her house. Saitbyul greeted the dog warmly, and even gave him a bonus kiss so that the dog would bring the owner's relatives and friends to support the store. Daehyun was on the side, watching her kiss the dog, and he immediately wondered if Saitbyul's first kiss was for a dog. He suddenly gave her a look as if he was being betrayed. Daehyun told Saitbyul's friends to stop eating without paying. Saitbyul reminded Daehyun to check his pockets. Sure enough, there was cash in them. Daehyun drank too much and jumped around in front of Saitbyul's friends. He even shook his hips. Daehyun originally wanted to fire Saitbyul, but she caught his weakness. Daehyun was taken to the police station for selling cigarettes to minors. A high school student who stole someone else's clothes, pretended to be a college student, and went to a convenience store to buy cigarettes. To avoid being punished, Daehyun returned to the convenience store to check the camera. He was determined to find the customer's ID photo that he had checked, but he didn't know what day it was, so he had to look at it day by day. During that time, Saitbyul called her friends to help. Daehyun was busy when Yeonju called him. Her car broke down on the road. Yeonju handed the car over to Daehyun and left in a hurry. Daehyun met a miner on the way to the repair shop, so he immediately ran after him. He asked the person what day it was that you went to the convenience store to buy cigarettes. That way, it would be easier to find the recording, but the student refused to say. Saitbyul had no choice but to take action herself. She used force to force him to tell her the time he went to the convenience store to buy cigarettes. Then she ran back at full speed and told Daehyun. Sure enough, the student used a fake ID. Saitbyul downloaded the recording and handed the USB to Daehyun. Just handing it over to the police would exempt their convenience store from administrative punishment. Daehyun saw the wound on Saitbyul's hand and applied medicine to her himself. Saitbyul thought that after she had done a good deed, she could become a full-time employee, but Daehyun still didn't say anything. If that was the case, Saitbyul had no choice but to take the USB. The intimate contact between the two suddenly appeared. Daehyun lightly tapped Saitbyul's forehead. Daehyun wanted to confirm with Saitbyul whether the kiss 3 years ago was her first kiss, but he couldn't say it. Then he changed the subject. Because Saitbyul did everything for Daehyun, he reconsidered his actions. Because he had prejudice against Saitbyul, he thought she was a bad person. Just like the former leader looked down on Daehyun's education. The former leader criticized Daehyun for writing poor reports because he didn't graduate from a prestigious school. And so the former leader had prejudice against Daehyun from the beginning. After understanding, Daehyun called Yeonju. Daehyun decided not to fire Saitbyul. Daehyun originally thought Saitbyul was a bad girl, but only after meeting her did he realize that she was a warm-hearted girl. Although Yeonju felt uncomfortable, she still said she respected Daehyun's decision. Sungjun invited Yeonju to dinner. While Saitbyul was working, her close friends sent her an interesting video clip taken from the camera of Daehyun making fun of himself. Saitbyul knew the moves in the video and followed them. The convenience store was visited by all kinds of people every day. For example, these 3 men. They asked why Daehyun wasn't in the store. They even made a rude joke that Daehyun was a pervert and threw money on the counter when paying. Saitbyul was so angry, but she couldn't hit him. Customers were the ones who took the initiative to clean up after eating, but these people weren't like that. They made Saitbyul clean up after them. Then the famous actor Junho appeared. Saitbyul was immediately so moved that she couldn't speak. A while later, another customer came. He claimed to know Daehyun and wanted to buy a drink for free. Saitbyul insisted that he pay, but he turned around and walked away. He and Yeonju were co-workers. Back at the company, he spread rumors everywhere and said that Daehyun was selfish but hired a beautiful part-time employee. From a man's perspective, he would definitely want to visit the convenience store again. He even deliberately acted jealous of Daehyun in front of Yeonju for being able to be with such a beautiful girl day and night. On the surface, Yeonju didn't care much. Every day, Saitbyul thought of ways to get further with Daehyun. She even followed his horoscope and dressed up beautifully to get shifts. Saitbyul warned Daehyun that he had been having very bad luck lately because he was a Libra. Leo just made up for that, so the two of them had to be together. Hearing that, Daehyun just told Saitbyul to work hard and not worry too much about such things. Strive to increase sales to a higher level. While he was at it, help him get some things. Saitbyul was so infatuated with Daehyun that she followed him to the door to see him off and watched him leave. A moment later, Jumbi arrived. Saitbyul was worried that her younger sister would hang out with rude people at school, so she asked Jumbi about about her younger sister. Jumbi covered for Eunbyul and told Setbyul not to worry. Unexpectedly, the three rude men from last time appeared at the store again. They stole openly. In their eyes, Setbyul was a weak girl who couldn't do anything. Setbyul took off her uniform and walked out of the convenience store. Jumbi helped Setbyul watch the store. Setbyul followed the three men to a corner. They advised her to pretend not to see because they had also stolen things in front of Daehyun. But Daehyun was helpless and couldn't do anything. But Setbyul had no intention of giving up. She took down the thieves in a few moves. The three men knelt on the ground. Comic artist Dalsik passed by and recorded a video. Setbyul told the thieves to quickly pay the store. They had to pay in the future before they could take the items. The thieves obediently replied yes. Yeonju disguised herself and went to the convenience store. She wanted to observe Setbyul closely. Unexpectedly, the person Yeonju saw was Gumbi, who was helping Setbyul look after the store. Yeonju mistook Gumbi for Setbyul. Yeonju thought her rival was a beautiful woman, but this is what a real person is like. What a lame comparison. So Yeonju immediately crossed Setbyul off her love rival list. Setbyul returned to the convenience store. She hadn't been sitting for long when Daehyun returned. He also bought sugar cookies for Setbyul. He came to pick up the express delivery, which was a birthday present for father. Setbyul reminded him to cut off the tag so the recipient wouldn't see the price. Daehyun did as she said. It was actually a gift for Yeonju's father. He happily told his girlfriend the news. Yeonju talked about firing the part-time employee. She decided to respect Daehyun's judgment and not fire Setbyul anymore. She told Daehyun to treat the employee well. Yeonju thanked Daehyun for his kindness in giving her father a gift, but her father just wanted the family to have a simple birthday celebration at home. Setbyul heard Daehyun being rejected. Daehyun scolded Setbyul for eavesdropping on his phone. Setbyul seemed annoyed and argued that he was talking too loudly, so she had to listen. She immediately tore off the tag. Only then did Daehyun react. He had specially bought an expensive shirt for Yeonju's father. Unable to meet Yeonju's father, so Daehyun wanted to return the item, but the tag was torn to pieces, so Daehyun could only ask Setbyul to restick it. Setbyul was eating noodles when a kind person gave her beef tripe. She happily thanked him because the two dishes went well together. Gumbi and Eunbyul were also eating black bean noodles. Jumbi told Eunbyul not to hang out with those bad kids anymore. Jumbi gave Eunbyul time to end her relationship with those bad students. If Setbyul found out that Jumbi was helping her younger sister hide it, it would be troublesome. Eunbyul promised to take care of it as soon as possible. Daehyun would attend the class reunion today. Setbyul's fortune-telling tells him that he will have bad luck in love. It's best that he doesn't go see his lover. Dalsik goes to the convenience store to tell the story of Setbyul beating up 3 people the other day. But Daehyun is in a hurry, so he quickly leaves. Dalsik turns around and sees Setbyul at the cashier. Dalsik suddenly remembers Setbyul's strong appearance, so he changes the subject with a scared look and runs away. At the class reunion, everyone teased Daehyun for having a beautiful girlfriend. He was good-looking, well-educated, and worked at a big company. His friends said he was moving on quickly. Coincidentally, when Daehyun went to the bathroom, he saw Yeonju's family eating and drinking. The company director also attended Yeonju's father's birthday party. He personally handed over a valuable gift. It was exactly like the shirt Daehyun bought. Yeonju's father was very happy. He also invited Songjun to his house to play. This was an opportunity that Daehyun could not have. Daehyun went back to the convenience store and bought a few cans of beer. Suddenly, he wanted to pay attention to today's fortune. When Daehyun returned home, he checked his fortune and found out that tomorrow he would be going back and forth between heaven and hell. The next day, Setbyul and her sister went to the funeral home to visit their father. Their father was a taekwondo master. Setbyul and her sister have been passionate about martial arts since they were young. That's why the two of them aren't afraid of being bullied. Daehyun's convenience store attracts student fans. When Daehyun is about to take a photo with everyone, Yeonju suddenly calls and asks to meet him. The kids hear that Daehyun has a girlfriend and leave disappointed. Daehyun's mother is very angry because the sales weren't high today. Not only did they not have high sales, but now the only customers are leaving. Daehyun takes off his uniform and rushes to the meeting place with Yeonju. Yeonju frankly talks about Songjun attending her father's birthday party and about him coming to her house to play. Yeonju also explains that their parents are close, so she has a closer relationship with Songjun, but they are just friends. Daehyun says that he understands Yeonju, but he feels a bit cowardly. Daehyun doesn't dare tell Yeonju that he was there, and can't say that he hates Yeonju for being friends with Songjun. Daehyun suddenly realized that he, Yeonju, and Songjun were two different types of people from two different worlds. After dinner, the two held hands and went on a date to the bar they often went to. Coincidentally, Setbyul and her friends were also having a party at the bar. At the same time, Eunbyul and her friends were noticed by the female leader of the karaoke bar. The female leader knew that Eunbyul wanted to become an idol, so she ordered Eunbyul to step on friends' laps to take pictures. After threatening Eunbyul, she wanted to make some money. The female leader's dream is to become an idol manager. After teaching Eunbyul, the female leader went to the pub, but because she didn't have any identification, she was stopped at the door. Yeonju wanted to go to the bathroom and told her to make way. The female leader angrily told Yeonju to find a gap to pass through. Yeonju pushed her away and walked out. The female leader was not satisfied with Yeonjun's attitude, so she followed Yeonjun all the way to the bathroom to teach Yeonju a lesson. At this time, Saetbil also went to the bathroom, but she was pushed out by the female leader's subordinates. But Saetbil is not someone to be bullied. She pushed the two subordinates straight to the ground. Yeonju took the opportunity to call Daehyun for help. Daehyun went to the women's bathroom and saw Yeonju and Saetbil dragging each other. Daehyun quickly ran over and pushed Saetbil away. Only then did the two girls know each other's identities. Yeonju realized that she had looked at the wrong person at the convenience store. Whether it was intentional or not, Yeonju couldn't stand still. She sprained her ankle. Daehyun couldn't help but criticize Saetbil for bullying Yeonju. Yeonju didn't help Saetbil explain. Daehyun helped his girlfriend leave. Saetbil looked confused and bewildered. On the way home, Yeonju kept remembering Saetbil smiling at Daehyun. Yeonju felt like she was in danger of losing her lover, so she immediately told Daehyun that she had told him to teach his employees properly, but Saetbil was a bad girl and was very good at fighting. Yeonju then blamed Daehyun for bringing her to this small bar, which caused such an incident. After saying that, she angrily turned around and went home. Saetbil continued drinking with her friends and talked about being misunderstood by Daehyun. A handsome guy wearing a mask kept looking at her. This guy was Idol Ji-uk. He used to go to Saetbil's father's gym to learn martial arts. Saetbil drank too much, but still recognized Ji-uk. She stood up and pinched his cheeks. Ji-uk obediently let her do that. The female leader here vowed to take revenge on Saetbil. She told her subordinates that Saetbil must be captured no matter what. Eunbyul received orders from the female leader, without knowing that the person they needed to find was her older sister. Daehyun sadly remembered the image of Saetbil smoking when she first met him. He thought that a person's nature was hard to change. Saetbil was still a bad girl that shouldn't be trusted. After returning to the convenience store, Daehyun also saw Dalsik filming a video of Saetbil beating someone. After thinking about it, Daehyun decided to let Saetbil quit her job. He couldn't let his girlfriend be sad because of another woman. Within 5 minutes of Yeonju hearing the news, she suddenly became happy and cheerful again. When Saetbil sobered up, she remembered that Daehyun misunderstood her. She was angry and kicked the teddy bear violently. Even though Daehyun was angry, she received a text message from handsome Ji-uk saying that they would meet often in the future. At this time, she naturally had to go online to see what her fortune was today. The fortune told that it was not a good day to go out. Only bad luck was waiting. Saetbil didn't want to go out, but she received a part-time job with 4 times the salary. In order to make money, she didn't care what the fortune told her anymore. Coincidentally, Ji-uk becomes the image ambassador of the convenience store where Yeonju works, and Saetbil's part-time job is to go to Yeonju's company, a speech about how to become an excellent salesperson of the convenience store. Just having Saetbil will double the sales. The two of them look at each other in surprise and murderous intent. Saetbil shares the secret to success and becomes a drinking buddy of the customers. Listen to others tell the truth and scold the hateful person together. Treat customers honestly. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Saetbil stares at Yeonju as she says this. At the end of the conference, Saetbil pretends to be sweet and answers Daehyun's phone. Yeonju doesn't care at all because Daehyun has promised to fire Saetbil. The two women confront each other at the employee dinner. Saetbil confesses that she likes Daehyun. At the same time, Saetbil stands up to advertise Daehyun's branch and pours drinks for the employees, hoping to get everyone's favor. Daehyun receives a letter of apology from the thieves and money for the stolen items. They also promise to clean up the trash and be polite to others. The thieves call Saetbil a student killer. Daehyun feels guilty because he misunderstood Saetbil again. He goes to the warehouse and finds Saetbil's work diary. Daehyun is currently very emotionally complicated. The group fights for Saetbil and tells Daehyun the truth. Yesterday was the day Saetbil's father died. They took Saetbil to the bar because they didn't want her to be sad. When she went to the bathroom, she bumped into Yeonju, who was being bullied. Unexpectedly, after Saetbil saved Yeonju, she was falsely accused by the other party. Saetbil would never hit an innocent person. She only taught those who deserved to be hit for doing wrong. Daehyun realized that he had misunderstood Saetbil. He went to find Yeonju first to confirm the truth on the day at the bar. Saetbil was his first employee, so he didn't want to falsely accuse her before clarifying the matter. Yeonju admitted that Saetbil had not been violent towards her. Despite this, Yeonju still emphasized emphasize that Sae-byul was a violent girl. Daehyun held Yeonju's hand. After thinking carefully, Daehyun explained that he was not protecting Sae-byul. Although Sae-byul did nothing wrong this time, Yeonju was the most important thing in his heart. Daehyun was ready to chase Sae-byul away with just one sentence from Yeonju. Daehyun also gave Yeonju time to think. When Yeonju heard that, her anger immediately disappeared. The two hugged and made up. Yeonju's mother came home and saw the two clinging to each other, so she stopped the car and called Yeonju to come home. Daehyun coaxed his girlfriend and ran to the police station. The drunk man wanted to molest Sae-byul, so Sae-byul twisted the other person's arm. The drunk man threatened to put Sae-byul in jail. Daehyun smiled and apologized to the drunk man. The drunk man reprimanded Daehyun. Then he justified his harassment. He said that he considered Sae-byul as a daughter. He only touched her hand as a sign of encouragement. Daehyun immediately changed the tone and ordered him to apologize to Sae-byul. Daehyun also took out his cell phone to review everything in the store. The drunk man begged Sae-byul for forgiveness. But how would a girl feel after experiencing this? Sae-byul and her younger sister have no parents, so no one wants to believe what they say. Daehyun comforted her that he would trust Sae-byul unconditionally and apologized for the previous misunderstanding. Then he told Sae-byul not to come out so casually to avoid bringing disaster upon herself. Sae-byul remembered that when her father was alive, he also scolded her with this tone. Teaching means caring. Since her father passed away, she could no longer feel that way. Today, after a long time, Sae-byul found a familiar feeling in Daehyun. But the funny thing was that Daehyun joked that if Sae-byul was so good at fighting, then try hitting him. But Sae-byul stepped forward without hesitation and beat Daehyun until he bled. Thanks to Sae-byul, the convenience store's revenue tripled. Sae-byul became an excellent employee of the head office. Daehyun jumped to celebrate this. Sae-byul asked Daehyun why he wanted to open a convenience store. Daehyun replied that he used to work at the head office of the convenience store. After working seriously for a while, he started dancing again. He was an office worker when he suddenly dreamed of freedom. He followed his heart and opened a convenience store. The two laughed happily. Sae-byul followed Daehyun to receive a gift. Daehyun took out Sae-byul's favorite bouquet of pink roses. The language of flowers is thank you. Only Sae-byul knew that flowers also implied love. Daehyun then agreed to let Sae-byul climb on his back. Sae-byul shamelessly hugged Daehyun tightly and refused to get off. At that moment, Yeonju walked in the door and saw this scene. Daehyun explained to her. Yeonju expressed her complete trust in what Daehyun said. She also pretended to be generous and invited Sae-byul to dinner. Yeonju took them to a fancy restaurant. The two walked ahead while Sae-byul followed alone. When ordering, Sae-byul did not understand the menu at all. Daehyun also had a headache when looking at the menu in English. The rich Yeonju calmly helped them order a delicious meal. She also easily recognized which wine was better. Daehyun and Sae-byul could only look at Yeonju in amazement. Sae-byul felt a little bored, so Yeonju took the initiative to raise her glass to congratulate her on achieving the title of excellent employee. It was Sae-byul's first time drinking wine, so she didn't know how to hold a glass properly. Yeonju smugly witnessed Sae-byul's rusticity. The air was thick with the smell of gunpowder. After Sae-byul drank a few glasses in a row, Daehyun was about to pour her wine, but Yeonju stopped him. Who would want their lover to pour wine for another girl? Yeonju also told Sae-byul to just focus on work. Sae-byul replied that whether it was work or something else, she would work hard. Yeonju continued to pretend to apologize for the previous misunderstanding in front of Daehyun, making Sae-byul extremely uncomfortable. After dinner, Daehyun received a call from the supplier. He talked loudly about the problem of importing goods at the convenience store. Yeonju let go of Daehyun's hand with a disgusted expression. She felt that speaking loudly in public was very embarrassing, but Daehyun didn't care at all. Yeonju stood aside. She didn't want to have anything to do with the other two right now. Daehyun hung up the phone. Yeonju refused to let him take her home. She just told him to go back to the store to fix the delivery problem. Sungjun happened to pass by and was tasked with taking Yeonju home. Daehyun was very concerned about the two of them being alone together. But Sae-byul was happy that she could return to the convenience store with Daehyun. Daehyun told Sae-byul not to cross the line so as not to cause unnecessary misunderstandings. After returning to the convenience store, Daehyun got off work and went home. Sae-byul stood in front of the wine counter and complained. No matter how expensive or luxurious, beer was still the best for her. Because she was on the night shift, Sae-byul chose to eat instant noodles and then called Eunbyul to ask if she had received the express delivery. Eunbyul lied that she was at home, but in reality she was with the bad guys. The leader put a lot of effort into helping Eunbyul debut as an idol. She personally came to supervise Eunbyul's practice progress. She even asked Eunbyul to sing Tiara's Roly-Poly. Daehyun was worried about whether Yeonju would return home safely. He was afraid that his girlfriend would misunderstand his relationship with Sae-byul. Sungjun took Yeonju home safely. Early the next morning, Daehyun waited outside Yeonju's house. He personally took her to work. Looking at his girlfriend with a serious face, he immediately apologized. He promised that there would be no unnecessary misunderstandings. Daehyun was so good at coaxing people that Yeonju smiled right away. After the night shift, Site-Beol handed over her shift to Daehyun and went home. She received the beautiful dress she had been waiting for. Now Site-Beol could dress up nicely to meet Daehyun. Site-Beol worked all night but still prepared breakfast for her younger sister. When Site-Beol went to the bathroom, In-beol secretly took her new dress away. The head office wanted to go to the convenience store to interview Site-Beol. The new person was promoted to manager. Daehyun's older sister, Dae-soon, took her mother to buy clothes. But when it came to the payment step, Dae-soon ran away. When Daehyun's father found the gift that Daehyun intended to give Yeonju's father, his mother became even more upset. The interview began, and for every question the reporter asked, Daehyun stood by and reminded Site-Beol. At the same time, he also asked relatives and friends to come and answer directly. He was afraid that Site-Beol's answer would not be appropriate. After the Q&A ended, Daehyun's family went outside to discuss. Everyone asked Daehyun to carry Site-Beol for a souvenir photo. Daehyun vehemently refused. The family also had conflicts over this issue. When Daehyun confirmed that the photo would only be published in the magazine and would not be posted online, and that people at the headquarters would not usually see it, he reluctantly agreed. To avoid embarrassment, Dal-sik, who passed by, was also dragged to take a photo with them. Daehyun reluctantly took a souvenir photo while carrying Site-Beol on his back. After filming, Daehyun talked to Yeonju. Site-Beol didn't like it, so she stood by and interrupted. Daehyun tells Yeonju to just wait and see. He will work hard to open many convenience store chains. Yeonju is very pleased with this ambitious man. Site-Beol is not pleased because he seems to be at ease. Daehyun thinks she is jealous because she doesn't have friends of the opposite sex. Site-Beol says that not only does she have friends of the opposite sex, but she is also famous. Site-Beol wants to prove it to Daehyun, but can't call Ji-wook. Daehyun sees this and mocks Site-Beol. Site-Beol leaves work in a rage. Jumbi tells her that Eun-beol didn't come to school. Jumbi buys a dermatology coupon to bribe Eun-beol's friends and knows that Eun-beol will be auditioning. Eun-beol is wearing her older sister's dress. Site-Beol received the news and ran to the entertainment company. Eun-beol immediately ran away from Site-Beol. Actually, Eun-beol did all of this just to want her older sister to have a better life. Running all the way back to school, Eun-beol confessed her feelings. She really wanted to become a trainee. Everyone praised her talent. Site-Beol remembered the days when she and her younger sister stayed at their aunt's house after their father passed away. Every day, their aunt complained about Site-Beol and her younger sister eating for free at their house and not paying living expenses. Site-Beol took her younger sister away from the aunt's house, and she vowed to work hard to earn money so that the two of them could live well and send Eun-beol to college. From then on, Site-Beol started working part-time and delayed her studies. After filming, Ji-wook saw Site-Beol's missed call. He changed into a cool outfit and went to see Site-Beol. Site-Beol felt happy and immediately returned to the convenience store. Daehyun was extremely happy to see Ji-wook, just like the expression of a group of women when they saw their idol. Site-Beol very naturally gave Ji-wook a heavy object and asked him to help her carry it, so she successfully proved that she knew her idol. She even intentionally chased Daehyun away so as not to bother the two. Daehyun left the convenience store and immediately told Yeonju the hot news that the idol star Ji-wook had come to her store. At this time, Yeonju was holding a party with her colleagues to congratulate her on winning a big project. At the same time, Site-Beol took Ji-wook to dinner with Daehyun's family. Ji-wook was jealous because Site-Beol acted casually with Daehyun. The two of them looked very close. Dae-soon took a photo of the dinner and posted it online. Daehyun received the interview photo while he was eating. The photo was cropped out of everyone, leaving only Daehyun carrying Site-Beol on his back. The headline was from Daehyun's tone, saying that Site-Beol was the convenience store's lucky charm, so it wouldn't be too much to carry her on his back. At this time, Daehyun also received more shocking news. The company decided to publish the article on the website as promotional material. As soon as Daehyun received the news, he immediately contacted Yeonju. Yeonju was celebrating and missed the call. A moment later, her co-worker showed her the photo. The smile on her face gradually disappeared. Ji-wook's management company saw the photo of him online, and of course the company wouldn't allow him to go out to eat and post it online without permission. So in the end, Ji-wook had to go back to the manager. Daehyun went to find Yeonju to explain, but Daehyun saw Sung-joon taking a drunk Yeonju home. Yeonju took the initiative to ask to be carried her on his back so she can feel what it's like, because she had never been carried on someone's back since she was little. Her mother thought that carrying her on back would make her legs not straight. Now Sung-joon became the first person to carry her on his back. Yeonju even acted cute and asked to carry her on his back on another lap. Finally, the two of them went into Yeonju's house together. Because she drank too much, Yeonju immediately lay down on the sofa while still muttering to Daehyun that he was a bad guy. Why did he carry Sae-byul on his back? At this moment, the female leader read the news and went to the convenience store where Sae-byul worked. She used a stick to attack Sae-byul from behind. Sae-byul fell to the ground feeling dizzy. The three people standing there were worried that the hit would be too heavy and Sae-byul might die, so they quickly ran away. They ran away to a place where no one was around. They were afraid that the camera would record them and that they would hit a vital spot. Daehyun passed by and heard their conversation. He saw that these people looked familiar and remembered the thugs at the bar last time, so Daehyun hurriedly went back to the convenience store to help Sae-byul up. Sae-byul immediately opened her eyes completely as if nothing had happened, but she held her stomach and had to be hospitalized for acute appendicitis. After reporting the incident, Daehyun looked at Yeonju's photo on his phone and remembered the scene he saw at Yeonju's gate. But Daehyun had to put aside his chaotic mood and go to the hospital to take care of Sae-byul. That night, Daehyun dreamed that Sae-byul wanted to go to the bathroom and asked Daehyun to carry her on his back. Daehyun didn't want to carry Sae-byul. Sae-byul had no choice but to jump on his back. Daehyun shook his body vigorously but couldn't shake Sae-byul off. Just then, Yeonju entered the hospital room. She once again saw the two people's actions going too far, and so she pulled out her gun and shot Daehyun, killing him on the spot. Daehyun was carried away by black and white impermanence. Daehyun woke up and told Sae-byul to rest comfortably because of her work-related injury. He also promised to help her pay for the hospital bills. He even paid her double her current salary. Dae-soon took advantage of the time when Daehyun was not at the store to put food and drinks in her husband's suitcase to take home. Coincidentally, Daehyun came to take over the shift at that time. He also knew what his older sister did, but he couldn't do anything. After all, they were family. While Sae-byul was recovering in the hospital, she received news that Eunbul would be entering the second round of selection, so she had to register for an experience class outside of school. So Eunbul skipped school again. Sae-byul wanted to go out and catch Eunbul, but she wasn't discharged, so Sae-byul obediently went back to bed. The two best friends received the news and went to the hospital to visit Sae-byul. Unable to contact Yeonju, Daehyun had to go to the company to wait for her to get off work. Yeonju didn't want to hear Daehyun's explanation. She turned around and got into Sungjun's car. At that moment, her colleagues also got off work. Daehyun quickly hid in a corner. They all said that it would be difficult for two people from different backgrounds to go far. Being well matched was important, and Daehyun was the one who was wrong first because he carried another woman. Daehyun was drinking alone. Yeonju and Sungjun witnessed a friend's proposal. Only Sungjun could see the pain in Yeonju's heart. She wasn't really happy. Sungjun hugged Yeonju to comfort her. He couldn't bear to see Yeonju hurt because of Daehyun. He wanted to start pursuing Yeonju, but she refused because she only saw him as a good friend. In the evening, Daehyun went to the hospital to apologize to Sae-byul. He didn't want Yeonju to misunderstand again, so he could only fire Sae-byul. Unexpectedly, Gimbi helped Sae-byul move to a private room. The things he was about to say when he saw Sae-byul, he couldn't say anymore. Daehyun kept talking to Sae-byul vaguely without any purpose. The next day, Ji-wook visited and brought Sae-byul the hibiscus flower she liked. Flowers were also to show noble friendship, but Ji-wook wasn't satisfied with just being friends with Sae-byul. Ji-wook was busy, so he only had time to see Sae-byul for a moment before having to leave to catch up with his schedule. Daehyun's family took good care of Sae-byul. Daehyun's mother sometimes helped Sae-byul wash and dry her hair. Sae-byul was moved to tears. Sae-byul lost her mother when she was young, so she had to wash her hair herself ever since. Daehyun's mother complimented Sae-byul on her beauty. Sae-byul was afraid that her mother would be concerned about the hospital bill, so she took the initiative to say that her best friend had helped her upgrade her room and had paid in full. Daehyun's mother also recalled that her best friend was the one who helped her and Daehyun's father get together, but 40 years ago, that friend suddenly disappeared without a word of goodbye. Until now, there has been no news, and it is not known if she is still alive. Here, a group of men are looking back at old photos and reminiscing about the past. Daehyun's father pointed at the beautiful woman in the photo. That year, many men had their hearts broken because of her. She was not only beautiful, but also sang well. Daehyun's father was also fascinated by her. They were talking about a woman named Jang Mi. After she left, she opened a restaurant. Daehyun's father remembered his ex-lover Jang Mi. Yeonju's mother investigated Daehyun's personal history. When she arrived at the convenience store, she happened to meet Daehyun's father working. Yeonju's mother bought 1 million won worth of food from the store and asked for home delivery. Daehyun's father proudly boasted that he had earned it. Before delivering the food, he asked his son to wear the store's clothes to make a good impression with a professional professional appearance. They should take this opportunity to turn the big spenders into regulars. Daehyun went to Yeonju's house and took the initiative to greet her mother. Before Daehyun could introduce himself, Yeonju's mother interrupted. She didn't want to hear that he was Yeonju's boyfriend. Yeonju went downstairs and saw Daehyun. Yeonju's mother took out a tip for Daehyun right in front of Yeonju. Daehyun was embarrassed to let an older person keep giving him money like that, so he had to take it and bow his head to thank her. Yeonju stood to the side without saying a word. Yeonju also didn't introduce Daehyun as her boyfriend. After Daehyun left, Yeonju's mother asked the servants to clean up all the food in the convenience store and not leave anything behind. It was like a reminder for Yeonju to quickly pack up. Yeonju ran out of the house, but Daehyun had already left. He drove while holding back his tears. The relationship between the two gradually became distant. After work, Yeonju took the initiative to go to the convenience store. Knowing that Daehyun was taking care of Sepbyul in the hospital, she went there. But when Yeonju arrived, she only saw Sepbyul alone. Yeonju slowly walked over and said that Daehyun was a kind person, so he wouldn't hesitate to spend a lot of money. That's why Sepbyul could stay in a VIP single room like this, Sepbyul explained. But Yeonju continued to say that the two of them had been dating for more than 2 years and had never argued. But ever since Sepbyul came to the convenience store, they always argued. That's why Yeonju said these cruel words on Daehyun's behalf. Yeonju hoped that Sepbyul would quit her job at the convenience store and not cause unwanted trouble. Just then, Jiuk appeared. Sepbyul was in a bad mood, so she went to the movies with him. During that time, Jiuk had to help Sepbyul hold the bottle of saline. Sepbyul watched while eating popcorn and smiling just to hide her emotions. Eunbyul once again passed the second round of selection. After it ended, Eunbyul was informed by Gumbi that her older sister was hospitalized, and there was also a photo of the attacker. Eunbyul recognized the female leader and the others at a glance, so Eunbyul went to find her herself. After hearing the news, Sepbyul pulled out the IV needle and escaped from the hospital. This female leader was a fan of Jiuk, so she wanted Eunbyul to help her get Jiuk's autograph. She also specifically reminded Eunbyul not to forget that after becoming famous, the money you earned would have to be given to me 50%. Eunbyul immediately changed her expression and helped her sister teach these bastards a lesson. Unexpectedly, this one dragged 3 other thugs along. But for Sepbyul, this was not a more problem. Sepbyul exercised for a while, and the bad gas in her body was expelled, and her body recovered strangely. Daehyun sat waiting at the hospital. In order not to ruin Daehyun and Yeonju's relationship, Sepbyul asked to quit her job. She had always worked very hard to prove to Daehyun that even if she did not graduate from high school and did not have parents, she was not a bad girl. Daehyun was confused and worried about Sepbyul's future fate. Sepbyul ruthlessly chased Daehyun out of the hospital room. Sepbyul then changed her clothes and left the hospital. As soon as she reached the door, she saw a group of people moving things in and out. It turned out that Sepbyul and Eunbyul had been tricked by the broker. It was clear that they had signed a full rental contract, which required them to pay a certain amount of deposit to the landlord and would have the right to use the house for a certain period of time. Twamber, the deposit would be fully refunded when the lease expired, but what the broker and the landlord had signed was a monthly rental contract. Now Sepbyul and her younger sister were homeless and were kicked out of the house. Sepbyul and her younger sister, along with the other people who had been tricked, immediately went to the police. But when the criminal was arrested, he laughed and said that he had spent all his money. Sepbyul temporarily took her younger sister to live in a small boarding house. She looked at her small savings and sighed, but she still comforted her younger sister so that you would not think too much. You should focus on studying hard. Eunbyul didn't want to stay in the small, cramped room. She blamed her older sister for only knowing how to reason all day, but not knowing how to look at people, so they were deceived. Now they have to live in misery because of her so-called self-respect. Sepbyul didn't seek help from the rich Gumbi. Sepbyul really had a hard time. She shouldered the burden of life alone. Her younger sister was also hot-tempered and didn't understand her hardships. Sepbyul went out to relax and thought about her deceased parents. At this time, Daehyun had promptly transferred Sepbyul's salary. This amount of money could help her get by for a while. The two looked at the messages they had sent earlier. Daehyun was still not used to the convenience store without Sepbyul. Sepbyul also remembered every little thing she had with Daehyun. Thinking too much during the day would cause her to dream at night. Sepbyul dreamed that the broker returned the money that had been scammed to its owner. Before Sepbyul could be happy, Eunbyul pulled her back to reality. The feeling that it was all a dream was really unpleasant. Daehyun's mother still didn't know about Sepbyul's resignation, so she was still bragging to the owner of the convenience store next door about how hardworking and excellent her employees were, and how she wanted to rely on Sepbyul to get new sales. Daehyun still didn't reveal the truth that Satebiol had left. Back in reality, Satebiol continued to work part-time. She was full of energy but couldn't hide the fatigue on her face. She accidentally walked to the convenience store after work and suddenly remembered that her notebook was still inside. So while Daehyun was in the bathroom, she sneaked into the counter to look for it. After a while, Daehyun returned. Satebiol could only hide in the storage room. Daehyun went inside to arrange the goods. Since he already had a stomachache, he farted on the spot. Satebiol could only cover her nose to cover up the stench. A moment later, Daehyun went to the storage room to find the products that needed to be returned. Previously, this was always handled by Satebiol, so Daehyun did not know where the goods were located. While Daehyun ran out to find, Satebiol, hiding in the closet, quickly went out to get the goods that needed to be returned from a high place. Then she put them on the table and hid again. Daehyun turned around and saw the goods that needed to be returned there and the noise from the closet next door. The sky suddenly thundered, and Daehyun was scared by what had just happened. He thought there must be a ghost in the store, so he started chanting and left the storage room. Satebiol escaped through the next door. While Daehyun was receiving the express delivery, Satebiol also told Geunbi about the situation of her and her younger sister. Geunbi is very kind, so she invites Satebiol to live with her. At that time, her father is on a business trip, so the house will become the territory of the three girls. Geunbi's house is like a big resort with escalators and maids everywhere. Big bedrooms, big round beds, super spacious bathrooms. Everything necessary is available. Dalsik goes to the convenience store. As the author of Mangaka 19+, he has endless fantasies about ridiculous stories. Dalsik thinks that Satebiol's resignation must be because of Yeonju. Because Yeonju is suspicious of the relationship between Daehyun and Satebiol, she personally goes to the hospital and destroys Satebiol's belongings. Yeonju apologizes and says she shouldn't touch other people's things. Satebiol replies that Daehyun doesn't put himself in Yeonju's shoes. The person Daehyun likes is Satebiol. Through this imaginary story, Dalsik is definitely a big fan of the drama The World of the Married. Continuing the story, Dalsik imagines the scene of two women slapping each other. First, they pull each other's hair and tear each other's clothes. The scene of 19+ appears. Geunbi sleeps with Satebiol again after many years. Geunbi recalls the past. At that time, Satebiol was still working and saving money, so she could only rent a small single room. Geunbi finds Satebiol's place to stay. They squeeze together in that small space. Although the environment is not good, Geunbi feels that she slept most comfortably that day. It's really peaceful when you're with your best friend. Daehyun looked at Satebiol's notebook. He used the excuse of returning something to ask why she resigned. In order to not let Daehyun know that something was wrong at home, Satebiol hurried home. Satebiol pretended to be waiting for Daehyun at the door. Daehyun asked Satebiol why she quit. Satebiol kindly didn't say it was Yeonju's request. Satebiol said she wanted to find a better job to earn more money. Daehyun didn't say much and gave Satebiol the gift he had prepared for a long time. Satebiol opened it and saw that it was wrist and knee pads. Satebiol had intended to let go of Daehyun, but now this gift made her hesitate. Yeonju texted Daehyun to invite him to dinner because her mother had humiliated him last time, so the two of them hadn't contacted each other since. Daehyun wasn't as excited as before when he received the message. These changes may indicate that the relationship between the two is fading. Yeonju apologized to Daehyun on behalf of her mother. Daehyun fully understood Yeonju's situation. He felt that he had to do better. Then he talked about Satebiol's resignation. 48 hours from now will be the 1,000-day anniversary of their relationship. Daehyun specially prepared tickets to the musical, and coincidentally, Yeonju's company was also invited to the show and sat in the luxury seats. Yeonju promised to go with Daehyun, but her heart was clearly a bit confused. When she got home, Yeonju's mother also helped Sungjun say that she had to get to know Sungjun to be eligible for good treatment. Yeonju's mother understood her very well. Yeonju did not accept Daehyun in her heart, and she also felt that there was an irreparable gap between the two. They had been dating for 2 years, but Yeonju had never mentioned Daehyun in front of her parents. If Yeonju introduced him to her mother on the day Daehyun came to deliver the goods, her mother would have accepted him. In the end, Yeonju was the one who hurt Daehyun, not her mother. The next day, Yeonju clearly stated to Sungjun that she could not go to the musical with him. Sungjun took out the guest list. They were all political figures. In the end, it could be imagined that Dae had failed in his career, so Yeonju refused Daehyun's invitation. After living at Geunbi's house for a while, Satebiol heard Geunbi and her father arguing one day. He was unhappy that his daughter was hanging out with Satebiol. He always thought that Geunbi hadn't graduated from high school because of Satebiol. Satebiol didn't want to bother her friends, so she left a message and left Geunbi's house. After that, Satebiol continued to apply for a job as a delivery person. Every time she delivered, she wore the protective gear that Daehan gave her. Today, because she was in a hurry to deliver the goods, she forgot her protective gear and, unfortunately, got into a traffic accident while turning the car. Her elbow was rubbed and food spilled on the ground, so Saitbeol was scolded. Eunbeol was accepted as a trainee by the management company. If she performs well, Eunbeol can quickly debut, but she needs a guardian to go with her to sign the contract. The superior guessed that the photo that the female leader took of Eunbeol would get points. Eunbeol and her sister slept in the sauna. Eunbeol remembered signing the contract, so she took the initiative to care for Saitbeol and helped apply medicine. Although Eunbeol spoke a bit wildly before, she promised to give her older sister a good life. The next morning, Eunbeol left a message for Saitbeol saying that she would return all the money. It turned out that Eunbeol had taken Saitbeol's money to hire a woman to pretend to be her mother and successfully sign the contract. This money was Saitbeol's only asset. Saitbeol sat down on the ground and cried. On the day of the musical, Yeonju sat in the crowded luxury theater and turned to look at Daehan alone in the other corner. Daehan didn't even want to watch the second half of the show. He left sadly. Daehan's mother found out that Saitbeol had been cheated out of money by a neighbor and was currently staying in a sauna, so Daehan immediately came and took Saitbeol to her house to live. The two officially started living together. Daehan's mother was woken up by her son. Daehan didn't know anything about Saitbeol's current situation, so he said that if he was in this house, she wouldn't be there. So Daehan's mother decisively kicked him out of the house to fend for himself. Saitbeol went back to her room and kept in touch with her younger sister. As long as Saitbeol could talk to Eunbeol, Saitbeol would forgive her. But there was still no response. Sungjun saw Yeonju absent-mindedly watching the performance. Yeonju confessed that Daehan had also invited her to see the musical, but she had refused. Daehan went to the meeting place alone, and the seat next to him was still reserved for Yeonju. Seeing Daehan lonely made her feel confused, because Yeonju could not understand what she was really thinking, and she lost more and more faith in the relationship between the two. The next day, Daehan bought tickets to the musical from netizens. He wanted to see it again with Yeonju. Yeonju hesitated and finally accepted Daehan's invitation. Saitbeol packed her luggage and prepared to leave. Daehan's mother knew that Saitbeol had nowhere else to go, so she kept Saitbeol. A sumptuous breakfast was also prepared. Daehan's mother told Saitbeol to sit and eat comfortably. She even treated Saitbeol better than her own daughter. Thanks to Gumbi, Saitbeol finally contacted her younger sister's best friend. Despite Saitbeol's constant threats, the friend refused to talk because the friend didn't even know where Eunbeol was. Eunbeol had already joined a management company and started her internship. Daehan's mother had a really hard life. She struggled to sell insurance while her daughter at home was just a parasite. Her husband was also unemployed and was always thinking about earning some money from his wife to find his first love. Although Daehan could work and look after the convenience store, he often secretly gave the money he earned to his father. Today, Daehan's mother went out to sell insurance. She even invited a customer to dinner. When Daehan's mother was about to pay, the customer's family called and said that they had just bought insurance. Even the restaurant owner could see that this woman wanted to eat for free. Her clumsy tricks were immediately visible. Daehan's mother told her husband to clean the house before leaving. Unexpectedly, Daehan's father fell asleep and dreamed of Jong-mi and kept calling her name. Daehan's mother came home at this time. She was angry and heard her husband calling someone else's name, so she immediately went crazy and beat him up. Saitbeol occasionally went to the brokerage company to trick her because she thought that one day the broker might come back. But a moment later, the landlord came and threw water on her because of that broker. Many victims came here to cause trouble. The landlord couldn't rent the office to anyone else, so the unlucky Saitbeol suddenly became the old man's place to vent his anger. Daehan made an appointment with Yeonju to go see a musical, so he waited for his father to come and take over. Daehan's father only cared about the fact that Daehan had promised to let him extort some money without his wife knowing. After asking father to confirm that no one was in the house, Daehan went home and groomed himself. Daehan took off his pants as soon as he entered the door. Just then, Saitbeol walked out of the bathroom. This surprised Saitbeol, so she kicked Daehan away and covered her eyes. Daehan blamed Saitbeol for not staying at home but coming to his house. He also told Saitbeol to return to her house as soon as possible. Saitbeol got angry and left. Daehan accidentally saw the scar on Saitbeol's arm. Saitbeol didn't want to talk to this man, so she went back to her room. That night, Daehan and Yeonju watched the show. He apologized for not being able to buy a ticket to sit in the front row. Sitting in the back row affected their feelings. He promised that next time he would definitely give her the best seat. Yeonju responded politely to Daehan. It was clear that the distance between the two was getting farther and farther. After the show, Daehan also prepared something special. He got a photo coupon Daehyun to take a photo with the director and get an autograph. Yeonju was afraid that after meeting the director, she would be exposed because the director had always had a good relationship with her company, so they both knew each other. Daehyun didn't know anything but still dragged Yeonju to take pictures. She could only take something from the side to cover half of her face and reluctantly take a photo. After leaving the theater, Yeonju made an excuse that she had a headache and couldn't walk any further, then took a taxi home. Daehyun stood alone in the same place, feeling a headache as well. Yeonju didn't go straight home but went to a bar to drink with Sung-jun. Seeing that Yeonju seemed to be wavering, Sung-jun took the opportunity to hold her hand and stroke her hair. This time, Yeonju didn't refuse anymore. At this time, Daehyun called to make sure Yeonju had returned home safely, but Yeonju and Sung-jun were kissing in the bar. On the way home, Daehyun passed by a brokerage company. Just in time, he saw someone go inside trying to transfer the dirty money that had been hidden earlier. Daehyun didn't care and returned to the convenience store. Dae-soon, who was sitting in the bar, said that the reason Sat Beol came to their house was because the broker had cheated her out of her house deposit. Sat Beol had to sleep in the sauna every day, so his mother brought her home. Daehyun opened his eyes wide and remembered that brokerage company he had just passed by. Daehyun immediately ran to that place. He felt guilty as he ran because he didn't know why he wanted to chase Sat Beol away. At that moment, Sat Beol went to the convenience store to get the things she left behind. Dae-soon said that Daehyun had gone to the brokerage company to catch someone, so Sat Beol followed. The two of them got in the electric car together and chased after the criminal. Sat Beol hugged Daehyun tightly. The two of them really got along well. After the chase, the three of them met at the corner of the street. In the end, the broker still tried to run away. Sat Beol felt helpless because she had missed a rare opportunity. She didn't know if she would see that guy again. To help Sat Beol, Daehyun went to find his father's good friends nearby. He hoped that everyone would join hands to catch the scammer. The bosses had found out that the scammer had a mistress. The scammer was following her around all day, so they could start investigating the mistress first. Since they couldn't find Eun Beol, Sat Beol had to ask Ji-wook for help. Eun Beol had passed the interview, so she was probably going to be a trainee soon. After all, Ji-wook was an idol, so he definitely knew a lot of people. He could help her find Eun Beol's whereabouts. Ji-wook comforted Sat Beol to rest assured that he would help her find her younger sister. At the management company, Eun Beol's condition is not very good. The other trainees all went to practice choreography and left everything to her, including things like washing dishes, hanging clothes, and ironing clothes. Eun Beol promised that as long as she could debut, she would be willing to endure. Daehyun wanted to help Sat Beol get back the money she was scammed with, so he ambushed the scammer's mistress. Sat Beol got the news and joined in the stalking, but this time they failed and had to watch the two hug each other. The two hurriedly left on the tram. A new day began. The headquarters wanted to give Sat Beol, who was considered an excellent employee, a reward. Sat Beol initially wanted to refuse and tried not to see Yeonju, but when Sat Beol heard that there was a bonus, she immediately went there. Sung-jun personally handed out the bonus. In addition to the bonus, Sat Beol also got 2 tickets to see a musical. Sung-jun told her that the performance was great because he had enjoyed it with Yeonju before. Sat Beol remembers the time she was talking to Daehyun's mother. His mother said that Daehyun bought 2 tickets and asked his girlfriend to go see the movie, but was abandoned. Sat Beol finds Yeonju to ask the truth and tells Yeonju not to hurt Daehyun. Seeing the two arguing, Sung-jun cleverly orders his subordinates to fire Sat Beol. Even if Sat Beol is the queen of sales, he doesn't want anyone to make Yeonju uncomfortable. Being entangled in love makes Yeonju always lose focus. She recalls the memories with Daehyun, so she leaves the meeting room in a hurry. Yeonju regrets it. She just feels confused and infatuated. Right now she just wants to start over with Daehyun. Yeonju is looking for Daehyun everywhere. She calls him, but he doesn't answer. Yeonju runs to Daehyun's house to find him and meets his mother. Daehyun's mother warmly invites Yeonju to come in and play. Daehyun fell asleep in the store and found out that Yeonju was at his house, so he rushed back. Daehyun was afraid that Yeonju and Sat Beol would meet. What had to happen happened. Sat Beol got off work and went home. Sat Beol bought sugar cookies and brought them in. Daehyun's mother enthusiastically invited everyone to eat cookies together. Yeonju was too embarrassed to refuse, so she could only sit down. Daehyun's mother still solemnly introduced Sat Beol as an employee of the store, without knowing that she had quit her job. Daehyun's mother said that she considered Sat Beol as her daughter, so she let Sat Beol live here for a while. Yeonju felt uncomfortable, but it was not convenient to show it, so she could only find an excuse to leave first. Daehyun chased after her to explain to Yeonju that everything was just a misunderstanding. Yeonju didn't know how many times they had argued over a misunderstanding. Daehyun kept making excuses. Yeonju didn't want to listen, so she took a taxi and left. She originally came here to make up, but something happened. Daehyun sat listlessly in front of the convenience store. Saebyul felt guilty, so she came here. Even though she liked Daehyun, she didn't want to ruin their relationship. A customer came to buy something. Dal-sik helped pay the bill. The customer passed by Saebyul after leaving the store. Yeonju went home but was not in the mood to pay Sungjun. She apologized for being rude and returned to her room. Her mother was worried that she was always showing affection for the useless Daehyun, so it was another sleepless night. All three of them were lost in thought. Yeonju thought about the time Daehyun's mother introduced Saebyul as her daughter. Daehyun thought about Yeonju's misunderstanding. Saebyul was concerned about Daehyun. Daehyun blamed himself for complicating the matter. Saebyul didn't sleep and went downstairs to help Daehyun's father pick bean sprouts to prepare for breakfast the next day. It turned out that Daehyun's father had never worked in his life. He couldn't earn enough money to support his family, so the only thing he could do was clean the house and help his wife prepare breakfast. Daehyun thought all night. He still decided to talk to Yeonju. Unfortunately, Sungjun came to pick Yeonju up for work, and Daehyun came out from behind Yeonju's house. Daehyun officially introduced himself as Yeonju's boyfriend to her mother. There was a temporary misunderstanding between the two of them, so he had to explain himself. After explaining, he would let her decide. After saying that, he resolutely left. Daehyun's mother had never been on the list of excellent employees, so the leader put pressure on her. At this time, someone called to ask about buying insurance, so Daehyun's mother immediately went to the house to consult. All of this was Yeonju's mother's plan. Yeonju's mother wanted to shame this family and trample on Daehyun's self-esteem so that he would withdraw. Yeonju's mother wanted to buy a huge amount of insurance, which made Daehyun's mother happy, because that way her achievements will increase. Then the two mothers talked about their children. Yeonju's mother told the story of her daughter returning from abroad, working at a big company but falling in love with a man with a bad job and a poor family background. Daehyun's mother agreed. How could she date such a bad guy? Daehyun's mother also advised Yeonju's mother to prevent her children from being blinded by love. Marriage must be of equal social status to be good. Hearing Daehyun's mother say that, Yeonju's mother felt reassured and immediately agreed to buy insurance. Yeonju's mother also told Daehyun's mother to bring the contract next time she came. Daehyun's mother was extremely happy because this time she could become the sales queen of the year 2020. She would not have to endure the boss's complaints anymore. After that, Yeonju's mother arranged for someone else to intentionally reveal the driver recruitment information in front of Daehyun's father, and so he fell into the trap and immediately went to Yeonju's house for an interview. When Daehyun's father greeted him, Yeonju's mother ignored him and sat down on the sofa. She said that the previous driver lived in the basement and always smelled bad, so she fired him. It seemed like Yeonju's mother wanted to play a trick on everyone. Was she implying that Daehyun's family was a freeloader? Feeling guilty, Saebyul packed her bags and left. She coincidentally met Daehyun going home to change clothes. Suddenly, Daehyun received a notification that a customer complained that the convenience store sold expired sausages. Saebyul remembered the customer who bought sausages last night and passed by in front of her. Daehyun went back to the store to check the camera and saw the customer rummaging through the store to buy food. This person looked around like a familiar criminal who bought expired food to blackmail the store. Now, he was hospitalized with enteritis. He demanded 3 million won as a settlement from Daehyun, or he would report and put Daehyun in jail. Daehyun was having a hard time, so Saebyul worriedly asked about the situation. Daehyun said that the other party asked for 3 million won as a settlement. Even so, Daehyun reassured Saebyul not to worry. But when Saebyul left, he was upset. Saebyul pretended that nothing had happened and left. Saebyul saw Dal-sik in the building across the street. This wasn't the first time Dal-sik had changed shifts, so Saebyul questioned why he didn't check the due date when paying customers and let this mess happen. The boss knew that Daehyun's mother had a big client, so he was eager for her to sign the contract. He also gave her some Wagyu beef as a gift of encouragement. The whole family sat down to enjoy the beef together. The flavor melted in their mouths and was delicious. But Daehyun wasn't in the mood to enjoy the food. Not only did he have to worry about the 3 million won, he also had to worry about how to improve his relationship with Yeonju. Saebyul temporarily stayed at her short-haired friend Eunjo's house. Eunjo persuades Saebyul to accept Gumbi's help. After all, Saebyul has a younger sister who needs to be taken care of. Although Eunjo also wants to help Saebyul, the conditions do not allow it. Eunjo can only let Saebyul stay overnight. Saebyul tells Eunjo not to worry because she is an all-rounder. Saebyul will definitely find the scammer to get the money back. At the company meeting, Sungjun talks about the complaint at Daehyun's store. The victim calls for a complaint to the relevant agency. This will affect the reputation of the headquarters, so it needs to be resolved immediately. Sungjun tells Yeonju to handle this. On the other other hand, Site Beol is thinking of a way to help Daehyun. She goes to the convenience store early in the morning and stands aside to observe. The headquarters sent someone to persuade Daehyun to pay the settlement money, but he does not think that is the best way to deal with criminals. Site Beol wanted to help Daehyun share his worries, so she asked Dal-sik to go to the hospital with her. Site Beol went into the hospital room and gave the client a bouquet of snapdragons. The meaning of this flower is "don't touch me." He thought Site Beol was a girl who was easy to bully. Then Site Beol called Dal-sik in. Dal-sik dressed like a real gangster. The two of them immediately acted like debt collectors and reduced the compensation to 1 million won. Ji-wook went around asking for news about Eun Beol. Finally, he found her management company. Site Beol felt relieved after hearing about her younger sister. Eun Beol couldn't take it anymore, being ordered around by her friends to do housework all day. She dumped all the dirty clothes on them. Eun Beol warned them not to go beyond her tolerance because she wasn't a maid or a cleaner. If they were dissatisfied, they could fight. Eun Beol wasn't afraid of 3 against 1. The others didn't dare say anything when they saw Eun Beol's temper. Site Beol was eager to tell Daehyun the good news. Daehyun smiled and thought that it was clearly his family's business, so he should come forward. Site Beol did nothing wrong, but had to buy flowers to apologize. Besides, if they gave the guy the settlement money this time, what if he came back to cause trouble at another store later? Even if he reduced it to 1 million won, Daehyun wouldn't give it. It was obvious that Site Beol wanted to help him solve the problem, but in the end, she was blamed. She felt angry and left. Daehyun couldn't contact Yeonju. Ji-wook arrived a while later. That's when he found out what had happened to Site Beol recently. Daehyun was silent when asked where Site Beol was living. Ji-wook was very dissatisfied because Daehyun was indifferent to Site Beol. Site Beol thought about Daehyun with all her heart, but he didn't care about her. Ji-wook knew everything about Site Beol, so he found out where she was right away. Ji invited Site Beol to stay at his house. The two sneaked back to the apartment, but were accidentally photographed by someone in front of the door. Ji-wook personally went to the kitchen to make dinner for Site Beol. He also showed her Eun Beol's dance practice video. Site Beol felt more secure seeing her younger sister working hard for Dream. Daehyun's father started working as Yeonju's personal driver. He even opened and closed the door for her. He served Yeonju like a young lady without knowing that Yeonju was Daehyun's girlfriend. Site Beol received Daehyun's message and ran to the store. It turned out that Daehyun personally went to the health department to report and receive the investigation. After the checkup, the staff will contact the hospitalized customer. If the customer has convincing evidence, Daehyun will be punished. The momentary negligence of not throwing away expired food in time was indeed his fault, but the malicious blackmail of the customer was unacceptable. He did not want to forgive these criminals. That was why he was called Site Beol. He wanted to teach her that when faced with such a situation, follow the necessary procedures. Yeonju made an appointment to meet Daehyun in the evening. As soon as she met Daehyun, she explained everything about Site Beol. After a while of silence, Yeonju decided to break up so that Daehyun could find someone suitable for him. The two of them really did not get along. After saying that, she walked out of the store and got into Sung Jun's car. Yeonju was sad and cried. Sung Jun took her hand and took her to a party to relax. Returning to her place, Yeonju's sad mood has improved somewhat. Daehyun dejectedly returns to the convenience store and tells his mother to go home. At first, Daehyun's mother asked him to tell her Yeonju's date of birth so that she could tell her fortune, but now they have broken up. Site Beol watches her younger sister's dance practice video over and over again. After putting down her phone, she talks to Ji-wook about Daehyun. She praises Daehyun for being an upright person. When she encounters a fraudulent customer, he does not choose to hide it, but instead deals with it legally. Ji-wook is not satisfied with Site Beol's praise of Daehyun. When Site Beol goes to the bathroom, she meets an acquaintance. Only then does Site Beol know that he was threatened by Sung Jun, and that's why he chased her away. Site Beol pretends to be nice and encourages this person to try and work hard to improve his performance. Now Site Beol is truly a vagabond. She has to worry about making a living. Site Beol passed by the convenience store after dinner. She only glanced at Daehyun, who had a sad expression. Ji-wook watched her from afar. The next day, Yeonju's mother personally picked out her clothes to congratulate her on her promotion. This was all thanks to Sung Jun. Yeonju's mother was very satisfied with Sung Jun. Daehyun was still in pain from his broken love, but by chance, he knew from his old colleague that Yeonju turned out to be the daughter of the company's shareholder. Today she was going to be promoted to communications director, but Daehyun didn't know anything about it. He arrived at Yeonju's house just in time to see her coming home. He was angry because she didn't tell him the truth that she was the shareholder's daughter. Daehyun thought Yeonju was afraid that he would rely on her family's power to seek wealth, or that she thought he loved her only for money. Today he came just to get an explanation. Yeonju argued that the two of them were the same. Daehyun Daehyun was still hanging out with Sait Byul. In their private lives, the two of them were always incompatible. At this time, Yeonju's mother came home. Only then did Daehyun know that his father was working as a driver at Yeonju's house, and Daehyun's mother, who had a contract to come to Yeonju's house, saw this scene from afar. The situation was chaotic, so she wouldn't show up. Daehyun thought that everything was done by Yeonju to intentionally trample on his self-esteem. Even though Yeonju explained, Daehyun still didn't listen. He just felt that she wasn't like he thought. The two of them left angrily because of that. Yeonju told her mother that since the two of them had broken up, why did she have to do that to Daehyun? She did it to create distance between the two of them and speed up the breakup. When Daehyun left Yeonju's house, Daehyun's mother rang the doorbell. She held back all her anger and greeted Yeonju's mother warmly. Yeonju's mother signed the insurance contract. After signing, Daehyun's mother tactfully expressed her opinion that no matter how good or bad the conditions are, children are the treasures of parents. When Daehyun's mother left, she saw her husband mowing the grass in the yard. She used her document bag to cover her face. Her colleagues congratulated her on becoming the sales queen of the year. But now, Daehyun's mother could only try to smile. Daehyun's father felt more and more uneasy. He thought Yeonju's mother was making fun of his family to humiliate his son. He put the car keys in the car. When he saw Yeonju's mother in the yard, he turned on the water faucet and sprayed it directly on her. When she saw that, she screamed out loud in fear. On the way home, Daehyun's father bought his wife's favorite spicy chicken feet. He lamented why she didn't find a man with a good family background to marry instead of marrying someone like him, and now she's suffering like this. Both of them had their own thoughts. Sait Byul asked Ji-wook to get her the address of the dormitory where Eun Byul lived. Seeing Eun Byul get out of the car and tell the other trainees that the person she loved the most in this world was her sister. When she debuted successfully, she would tell her sister this news. Sait Byul was filled with emotions. At that moment, the car next to her suddenly started. Sait Byul screamed in fear, causing Eun Byul to notice. The two sisters went to a roadside restaurant. Sait Byul was worried that Eun Byul hiring a fake mother would cause problems if it was exposed because they had no one to protect them. For two orphan sisters like them, even a little mistake would be a total mistake. Eun Byul promised that when she debuted successfully, she would proactively talk about this to the public. Sait Byul was found living at Ji-wook's house by the manager. He said that Ji-wook had worked hard to get to where she was today, so if bad rumors were revealed, Ji-wook's career would be ruined. Sait Byul left Ji-wook's house and had nowhere to go. At that moment, she received a call from Daehyun. He called her to his house because his mother didn't know that Sait Byul had moved away. They had been apart for many days and nights, but now he was worried about Sait Byul's safety. Of course, she was extremely happy and immediately agreed. When Sait Byul got home, Daehyun's mother was already waiting in the room. She was not happy that Sait Byul left without saying goodbye. Even if Sait Byul stayed out for a night, she would have called home to let them know. Because they were family, leaving without saying a word made others worry. Sait Byul burst into tears when she heard the word family. Daehyun's mother also calls herself Seol's guardian. Sait Byul sheds tears because this is the family she has always dreamed of. Daehyun relaxes on the beach and remembers the past with Yeonju. Both of them work at the headquarters. Because of Daehyun's love for convenience stores, he quit his job to open his own convenience store. Sait Byul specially comes to give Daehyun a cooling mattress. At this moment, she meets Dal-sik, who comes to replace her shift. Only then does she know that Daehyun and Yeonju have broken up. This is truly the best news for Sait Byul. So she starts looking up her fortune online again and laughs loudly because her dream has come true. She says a few words to Dal-sik to get him to tell her where Daehyun is and then leaves. Then Sait Byul appears in front of Daehyun with a firework. Daehyun bursts into tears after drinking too much. Compared to breaking up, he feels even sadder about the injustice his family has to endure. After a while, he got drunk again and started talking nonsense and collapsed on the beach. Ji-wook got home from work. The agent told him that Sait Byul had left. He also reminded Ji-wook that your current place of residence was provided by the company and that the money you earned was also thanks to your fans. So if Ji-wook wanted to make friends, he should make friends with celebrities and not with someone like Sait Byul. Sait Byul went Daehyun to a nearby hotel. In fact, 10 years ago, Sait Byul fell in love with Daehyun at first sight. At that time, Sait Byul was practicing martial arts with Ji-wook when, suddenly the poor quality equipment fell down. Daehyun passed by and helped Sait Byul. After that, Sait Byul could not forget Daehyun. Daehyun was sleeping. He grabbed Sait Byul's hand and pulled her to him. The two of them had another close contact. 10 years ago, little Sait Byul fell in love with Daehyun at first sight. Although Daehyun did not recognize her, it was okay. Sait Byul would make Daehyun unforgettable forever. Hearing Daehyun call her name, Sait Byul excitedly pushed him aside and lay next to him. Daehyun woke up the next morning. Through the mirror, mirror, he saw Saitbul's face. Saitbul returned to work at the convenience store full of energy. Daehan's mother saw Saitbul happily jumping around and smiling brightly, and she really liked this girl from the bottom of her heart. So no matter how Daehan's mother looked at Saitbul, she was beautiful. Returning to the convenience store again, Saitbul was still smiling like the first day. On the other side, Juke was still thinking about Saitbul, so he went to the convenience store to find her. Ji-uk was worried that Saitbul had no place to live, so he wanted her to move back to his house. As soon as Daehan entered, he pulled Saitbul aside to ask about the ink on his face. Seeing the two of them being so affectionate, Ji-uk sadly left, but Ji-uk still tried to stay a little longer to look at Saitbul's joking appearance. The two of them didn't notice that Ji-uk had left, so they continued to joke around. Because Saitbul arbitrarily changed the order of instant noodles, which Daehan didn't like, Saitbul then acted as the store manager. She asked Daehan why the sales had dropped so much after she left. If it continued like this, how could they open another branch? Daehan listened to Saitbul's complaints and asked her to help him clean up the useless things in the drawer. It turned out that Saitbul's work card was in there. Daehan had always kept it for her. Saitbul asked Daehan to help her put it on. It was a celebration for becoming an official employee. Of course, it only had meaning if Daehan put it on for her. The two talked for a while and then went out to eat noodles. Saitbul noticed that Daehan's phone wallpaper had been changed. It was no longer a picture of him and Yeonju. Saitbul still felt guilty. She was afraid that they broke up because of her. But then she felt relieved when she heard Daehan's deny answer. It was great now. Daehan was also single again. Saitbul could be with Daehan openly. That night, when Daehan got home, he congratulated his mother on becoming a sales queen. He asked who was rich enough to buy such a huge amount of insurance. He also said that they should express their gratitude to the insurance buyer. He also said that they should pick up some gifts from the convenience store to give to that customer. After Daehan's father brought the food, he told Daehan to eat quickly and go to the store to help. Suddenly, Daesoon came home and asked when Yeonju would come here again. The whole family was embarrassed. Daesoon completely ignored her parents' sharp gazes and continued to say that Daehan's girlfriend's family was very rich and would probably support some insurance. Daehan took out his mother's certificate. Daesoon continued to suggest that if he sold insurance to Daehan's girlfriend's family, Daehan's mother could become a sales queen. Daehan's mother couldn't stand it anymore and told her daughter to shut up and eat. But Dae-soon turned to ask about her father's new job. She told him to work hard and not make the landlord angry. After saying that, Dae-soon went to get some side dishes from the refrigerator and brought them home. After eating, Daehan returned to the convenience store. He saw Saitbul carefully wiping off her name tag. Her dream was to work with Daehan. As soon as she said this, Daehan became curious. Why did Saitbul come back to work at the convenience store? Was it a coincidence, or was it planned long ago? Saitbul remembered that she would occasionally pass by the convenience store with her friends. At that time, Daehyun's store had just opened not long ago. She saw Daehyun in the store. Since then, she fell in love with him, and she would occasionally sneak a peek at him, rain or shine, day or night. Finally, she waited until the day the recruitment notice was posted outside the store. Of course, Saitbul wouldn't say that. She would just say that one night she received an order from the mountain god, so she came here to apply. It turned out that Daehyun had given the same answer. This time, he used his own way to deal with it. Saitbul then asked Daehyun if he wanted to chase her away so much. Why did he secretly leave her a name tag? Daehyun remembered that after Saitbul was evaluated as an excellent employee, he had made a name tag for her, but he just hadn't said it yet. Of course, Daehyun wouldn't say it. He also said that it was the mountain god's guidance. The two were extremely happy to be together. It turned out that Daehyun's father had heard about Jangmi's story and wanted to go with his friends to find his first love. But remembering the injustice his wife had suffered and her devotion to her family, he decided to give up. Daehyun was still thinking about what gift to give to his mother's big client, and then his father told him that the person was Yeonju's mother. Daehyun wanted his mother to terminate the contract, but was stopped by his father. His mother must have been very patient when signing the contract. She had given up her pride to make a living. If her son ruined this, she would be embarrassed in front of her children. That would make her even sadder. Daehyun's mother turned her pain into motivation. It was night, and she was still selling insurance. Daehyun called his mother. He held back his tears and promised to give her a good life. Finally, he told his mother that he loved her very much. Daehyun's mother has been working hard for a long time, so he wants to help arrange a vacation for the two of them to relax. Saitbul praises Daehyun for his filial piety. Daehyun pulls Saitbul into the store and gives her a new uniform. This is to celebrate Saitbul becoming a full-time employee, so it was specially made. The two of them wear it like a couple. Daehyun breaks Saitbul's illusion. He emphasizes that it is just work clothes. It is also to urge Saitbul to work hard. Saitbul Setbul also obediently replies, "Yes, store manager." Daehyun corrects Setbul's wrong greeting gesture. The intimate contact between the two makes Setbul's heart beat faster. Daehyun also says that Setbul is a special person, that's why he treats her differently from others. Because of this sentence, Setbul is happy all night. She was even inside cheering him up. It felt like Daehyun had forgotten the pain of losing his love. GUK was arranged to film a commercial at a convenience store. He proactively suggested filming a commercial in Daehyun's store. Sungjoon and Yeonju went there in person. They happened to meet Daehyun and Setbul while taking photos. After all, taking photos is for business. Yeonju said she wanted to use the convenience store as a location for the photo shoot. Daehyun said that this matter needed to be discussed with the manager. Setbul, after they discussed it, they would contact the headquarters. Setbul pretended that nothing had happened, but she was very happy inside. But when she sat down at the table and thought about it, she felt that something was wrong. She felt like Daehyun was deliberately using her to cause trouble for Yeonju. Daehyun explained that he had no personal intentions and just wanted to discuss it with her. Because of Setbul, he was able to let go of Yeonju. So as long as the current person was good enough, the ex would be forgotten. Setbul happily accepted the filming invitation. Of course, such a good opportunity could not be missed. Daehyun's parents stopped by the convenience store at night. Daehyun ran to hug his mother. Setbul ran out to greet the adults. She also mentioned that Jiuk would be coming here to film. Daehyun was embarrassed to say that the person in charge this time was Yeonju. His parents' expressions changed as soon as they heard Yeonju's name. The two of them immediately went home. Daehyun and Setbul cleaned the convenience store from the inside out. Sungjoon and Yeonju went to the convenience store together. Setbul smiled and thanked Sungjoon. It was thanks to him secretly interfering with her part-time job that she was able to continue coming back to work here. Jiuk also came and demanded to wear the store's uniform, so he and Setbul looked like they were wearing couple clothes. Then he told Setbul that Eunbul's group would have an official debut press conference tomorrow. Jiuk promised to help Eunbul promote. Setbul thanks Jiuk and warmly puts her arm around him. Jiuk notices that the atmosphere between Daehyun and Yeonju is not good. Setbul happily announces that since the two broke up, she finally has a chance. Setbul happily shares the news of her younger sister's debut with Daehyun. Daehyun congratulates her, and the two even do a celebratory gesture. Jiuk and Yeonju were beside them. Seeing the two of them happy like that, they felt uncomfortable. Jiuk found Daehyun and said that, "I think you were deliberately provoking Yeonju by talking and laughing with Setbul. If Daehyun doesn't intend to date seriously, don't let Setbul misunderstand, because Jiuk likes Setbul." Setbul suddenly appeared, holding both of their hands to prepare for work. The makeup artist did the request. Daehyun was angry, so he asked if applying those things would make them look any different. But after saying that, he ran into the warehouse to apply sunscreen. He wanted to compete with Jiuk in front of the camera. The filming of the convenience store experience had begun. A large number of fans came to the convenience stores to shop. They usually came here for Daehyun, but today, they came for Jiuk. Daehyun hurriedly paid for the customers, but they ignored him. They also said that if Jiuk opened a convenience store, they would come every day. Jiuk deliberately asked if he should come here to be the store manager, so the girls immediately said yes. Daehyun was shocked, and Setbul saw that the cream on his face did not stick to his skin, but Setbul thought Daehyun was so cute. She asked Jiuk why he said in front of everyone that he wanted to be the store manager, or if Jiuk was jealous because Daehyun was more handsome. Jiuk was surprised when Setbul said Daehyun was more handsome than him. Setbul told him to go home and look in the mirror. He could not compare to Daehyun at all. Daehyun smiled when he heard Setbul's words, but Setbul suddenly changed and said that Daehyun was almost 30 years old. He was not like the young people like them, so he had many wrinkles on his forehead. That was why he always covered his forehead with his bangs. Setbul told Jiuk not to compete with the older Daehyun. Daehyun stood at the warehouse door and heard everything. Setbul refused to leave Daehyun, so Jiuk was unhappy. Before the two could say a few words, Daehyun, who was sitting inside, made a sign to Setbul. The two of them had a good understanding of body language, which made Jiuk even more upset. In the next scene, Daehyun introduced beef intestines and noodles from another store. Manager So stopped it because it was originally to promote the company's convenience store products. But Daehyun went on to introduce this beef intestine restaurant. Daehyun thought that this could give consumers more choices. Manager Seo taught Daehyun that he couldn't do things his own way. Daehyun argued that I was the one running a franchise store, not his subordinate, so why should I listen to him? Director Seo asked everyone to stop filming. Setbul stood up to help Daehyun fight back. Director Seo was afraid of Setbul's aura, so he changed the direction to give a 10-minute break. Daehyun praised Setbul for doing a good job. Being praised by Daehyun made Setbul feel much much better. Just now, Daehyun was really cool when he fought fiercely with the company employees. Then a special child came to find Daehyun. Daehyun personally helped the child pay the bill. Sae-byul kept an eye on Daehyun, her eyes never leaving Daehyun for a second. Receiving the message, Yeonju stopped filming on behalf of everyone and quickly went to the scene to find out the situation. She also personally apologized to Daehyun. Daehyun said that he was also at fault, but he was stopped by Sae-byul. If the person who made the mistake apologized, then it was okay. Why did he keep saying that he was also at fault? Besides, he still had Sae-byul. If anyone made a fuss, Sae-byul would take responsibility to help him teach the other person a lesson. Sae-byul, like that, also made Daehyun feel trustworthy. The two of them always flirted while talking. After settling the matter here, Yeonju received a call from Sung-joon. Yeonju told him that this street seemed to have some grudge against her, and that she was not satisfied with anything she did. Daehyun's mother sat next to and heard it, and thought that Yeonju said that to her on purpose. Even though they were face to face, she didn't know how to greet them. Daehyun's mother said that Yeonju didn't fit in this area because she only judged people by their appearance. Even though there were poor people living in this area, they didn't say nonsense. In the afternoon, students left their textbooks at the convenience store. Sae-byul, who hadn't finished high school, enjoyed flipping through the textbooks. Daehyun went to ask Sae-byul if she had any thoughts about going back to school. Sae-byul had thought about taking the equivalency exam, but she didn't have the time, so she would probably take it someday in the future. After all, if she wanted to be a store manager, she would need at least a high school education. Sae-byul originally wanted to be a florist, but after being influenced by Daehyun, she also wanted to become a convenience store manager. Poor Ji-wook could only watch the two of them talk from the side. Sae-byul's happy expression would only be for Daehyun. While she was happy, Daehyun reminded her of what Sae-byul had told Ji-wook about him. He said he was going home to sleep. He was almost 30 years old anyway, so he got tired easily. Completely different from young people. Sae-byul also noticed that Daehyun's bangs were pulled up today. He intentionally exposed his forehead. It was obvious that he had heard her talking to Ji-wook. Daehyun went home from work, while Ji-wook was looking for a chance to be alone with Sae-byul. Daehyun sent Ji-wook away first. He wouldn't give Ji-wook a chance to be alone with Sae-byul. Ji-wook told Daehyun to go home and rest first because he was young and could stay up all night. To prove that he wasn't an old man, Daehyun tried his best to explain that he wasn't tired. Neither of them wanted to go home first, so they went back to the convenience store to accompany Sae-byul. If both of them wanted to stay in the convenience store, Sae-byul would go back to the room where the pajamas were stored and leave the store for the two of them to look after. After filming, Sae-byul asked for half a day off to go out to watch her younger sister's debut performance. Daehyun had no choice but to let her go, but Ji-wook suddenly had a new schedule and had to go too. Sae-byul watched her younger sister successfully perform the first performance. Eunbyul accidentally fell and even got a nosebleed. She still finished the performance with a smile. There's no need to argue about the self-improvement of Korean girl groups. Everyone praised Eunbyul's dedication. It turned out that Sae-byul always cared about her younger sister. Now that Eunbyul is growing up, Sae-byul is both heartbroken because her younger sister fell on stage, but also very proud. The female leader soon found Eunbyul. She forced Eunbyul to take a photo with her and put it in Eunbyul's file folder. There was also a photo of Eunbyul being forced to step on someone. The other subordinates reminded Eunbyul not to forget the past and said that they were very poor these days. While they were talking, Eunbyul received a congratulatory call from Ji-wook. The other girls suddenly had another idea when they heard the voice of idol Ji-wook. They forced Eunbyul to meet Ji-wook. Eunbyul asked Ji-wook to meet the other guys. As long as he went to meet them, they would obediently delete the photos. Those photos couldn't be leaked, or Eunbyul's career would end immediately. Ji-wook agreed to meet the other three. He also sincerely asked them to help Eunbyul in the future. He told them that they shouldn't meet at the bar because Eunbyul was still a minor, so these guys felt uncomfortable being taught a lesson. They deliberately hid in the corner after leaving and took photos right when Ji-wook was comforting Eunbyul in preparation for revenge. After Eunbyul finished her performance, she went to the convenience store to find her older sister. She was having a good time when the female leader sent her photos. Eunbyul panicked and told her older sister what happened. These guys threatened her to give them money. Eunbyul didn't know what to do for a moment. Sae-byul was confused when Daehyun called her to the store early in the morning. He wanted to give her a surprise. It turned out that Daehyun's storage room had been turned into a study corner for Sae-byul. He had prepared all his school supplies and test books. Sae-byul hugged Daehyun emotionally. Daehyun pushed her away because, of course, the man had to take the initiative in this kind of hug. After saying that, he took the initiative to hug Sae-byul so that Sae-byul could study and work hard. Netizens responded enthusiastically to Ji-wook's promotional video. Daehyun's recommended dish also boosted sales of convenience stores and beef intestine stores. In fact, when Daehyun was still working at the company, he had proposed a cooperation between local restaurants and convenience stores. Manager Seo made a sarcastic comment and said that if that was the case, then just do your best while you were at the company. After leaving, he pretended to be cool. After hearing that, Yeonju asked Manager Seo what you meant. At that time, Daehyun only told Yeonju that he would resign, but did not say why. During the anti-phone fraud campaign, because there was a problem in cooperating with the police, the person in charge at that time was Yeonju, but in the end, it didn't go anywhere. So Seongjun made Daehyun take responsibility, or it would affect Yeonju's future. Yeonju went to find Daehyun and asked him why he helped her take the blame. She just apologized and walked over to hug him. Yeonju said she would take everything back to the beginning. She wouldn't let him help her in vain. Daehyun felt that everything was over. Daehyun told Yeonju not to come to him for such trivial matters. Saebyul was sad when she saw the two hugging each other, so she didn't look straight at Daehyun. She went home with her textbook in her hand. Actually, the more she thought about it, the angrier she got. They had already broken up, so why were they still hugging? She had to take care of her younger sister, and her love wasn't stable either. Daehyun noticed Saebyul's abnormality, so he stopped Dalsik, who was walking on the street. He told Dalsik to stand in front of the convenience store and sing while he would sit in the store. Unexpectedly, Daehyun heard every word Dalsik sang, like this. Saebyul must have heard the conversation with Yeonju just now. Yeonju wanted to help Daehyun return to the company, so she took the initiative to make a near appointment with the president for dinner. Manager Seo was tasked with convincing Daehyun to join the dinner. Daehyun's mother thought that this opportunity was rare and hard to come by, so she insisted that her son come on time. Saebyul was worried because her younger sister was photographed. She didn't know how to deal with it. Suddenly, she thought of Daehyun's teaching. Don't always think about solving problems with your fists, but negotiate first. Thinking of this, Saebyul brought her family register to meet Eunbyul's manager. She wanted to confess that her younger sister hired someone to pretend to be guardian to sign the contract. Eunbyul appeared and took Saebyul away. Saebyul told Eunbyul not to lie. The paparazzi from above took a photo of the two of them standing together. After taking a photo of Saebyul entering and exiting Ji-uk's house, this person followed Saebyul. She wanted to get some more hot news. The female leaders group also appeared. Saebyul told Eunbyul to go back to the company. She could deal with these people. Saebyul took these people to a corner, but not to give them money. But then they kicked Saebyul and made her fall. They asked her to go get the money. The money was Eunbyul's debut gift. If they received this money, they would live peacefully for a while. When Eunbyul got her salary, they would split it. The paparazzi hid to the side to take pictures. Saebyul took out her cell phone to call her best friend. Eunjo took Saebyul back to the convenience store. Daehyun helped Saebyul rest in the storage room. Eunjo told Daehyun that a group of thugs were blackmailing Eunbyul with the photo. They were trying to threaten Eunbyul's future. Saebyul had no choice. She couldn't fight back for her younger sister's sake. Eunjo quickly returned to work and handed Saebyul over to Daehyun. Daehyun helped Saebyul clean her wound. He told her that if anything happened, she should call the police. Saebyul said that everything would be fine, but she silently shed tears. She didn't feel pain when she was beaten, but she felt heartache when her younger sister was threatened. Thinking about her younger sister being threatened, she felt sorry for her younger sister. Daehyun comforted Saebyul. Saebyul cried and thanked Daehyun's family for taking care of her. They gave her a job and a place to live. The more Saebyul talked, the more she cried. Daehyun hugged Saebyul to comfort her and patted her back. After a night's rest, Saebyul had recovered a lot. Daehyun's mother went to the convenience store and told Daehyun to quickly pack up and go eat with the president. Saebyul understood that Daehyun wanted to contact Yeonju again. Daehyun also told him to quickly go to the meeting place. During the meal, the president gave Daehyun a gift. Since filming the promotional video at Daehyun's convenience store, the company's performance has been steadily improving and the brand image is getting better and better. After dinner, Daehyun returned to the convenience store. Luckily, there was no perfume smell. Saebyul thought Yeonju would definitely be there for dinner, but now she was relieved. But there would be no next time. From now on, he would not be allowed to go near the company anymore and could only stay by Saebyul's side. The two of them were in intimate contact again. Unexpectedly, Daehyun's mother suddenly returned to the convenience store. Daehyun's reflex was to push Saebyul away. Seeing Daehyun treating Saebyul roughly, she taught him a lesson and said that if she didn't come, who knows what would have happened. But in Saebyul's heart, she thought that if she didn't come, the two would have kissed. Daehyun's mother came here to take Saebyul home so that she could study hard for the exam. The convenience store is not suitable for studying, Daehyun's mother said as she took off Saebyul's uniform and dragged her away. So this time, the two lost their chance to kiss. Then Yeonju went to the store and informed Daehyun about the company's decision to appoint Dae-hyun as a member of the head office's advisory committee. Dae-hyun returned to work at the head office as a representative of the franchise store. Dae-hyun thought he was not qualified enough. The company should find someone with more experience to take on the heavy responsibility. Yeonju knew that what she was doing was trying to pay for her initial mistake, but Dae-hyun didn't want to go back to the company and also asked Yeonju to leave. It was time to change shifts soon, so it was not good to let Sae-byul see. Yeonju didn't give up. Yeonju went to find Dae-hyun's mother and asked her to advise him. Dae-hyun's mother heard that Dae-hyun's annual salary would be much higher than now, so she promised Yeonju that she would come back to talk to him. Sae-byul was about to change shifts when she saw Yeonju when she stepped out of the house. The two looked at each other with murderous eyes and then went in two different directions. The police wanted to catch the criminal, so they went to the convenience store to get the camera memory card. The other group of people passing by saw Sae-byul talking to the police and thought she called the police, so they were scared. They thought that Sae-byul intentionally let herself be beaten to set a trap and called the police to arrest them. If that was the case, they would post those photos online. In a short while, netizens already knew that Eun-byul was Ji-uk's girlfriend and that Eun-byul used to be a thug. There were even strange rumors like Ji-uk was also a bad boy. Eun-byul would steal money from her classmates and love minors, or that Ji-uk was a scumbag. That paparazzi couldn't sit still. That was supposed to be her exclusive revelation. Who would have thought that the news would be blatantly stolen now? If that was the case, she would unleash another, heavier blow. Ji-uk's real girlfriend was Eun-byul's older sister. Then someone even posted a video of Sae-byul fighting with her friends in high school. The students saw the video and ran out of the convenience store. Sae-byul then saw the news and read the comments. There was a boycott of Ji-uk. All the customers in the convenience store had left. Sae-byul sat there helplessly. Ji-uk was extremely worried about Sae-byul. He wanted to personally check if she was safe, but the representative told him to stay home and not go anywhere. Dae-hyun watched the video and ran to the convenience store. Sae-byul hid in the storage room. Dae-hyun approached and said that the Sae-byul he knew was not a bad girl. What she did was just to teach those bullies a lesson. Sae-byul explained that the video was of her best friend being taken away by those people. When she was about to rescue her friend, someone else recorded the video. Sae-byul blamed herself for not calling the police, so everyone around her was in a difficult situation now. Dae-hyun hugged the scared Sae-byul and comforted her that it would be okay. Everything would pass. In the past, Sae-byul would have run away or endured it alone in this situation, but now, it was different. She had concerns in her heart. She didn't want to disappoint the people around her, so she wouldn't sit still. She had to resolve this matter clearly. Dae-hyun received Sae-byul's message and anxiously searched everywhere. Sae-byul went to the gathering place of the thugs. This was a confrontation between Tai-chi and Snakefist. The two men were defeated one after another. The two girls pushed the female leader away and were defeated by Sae-byul. The remaining two had to hand over their phones and bowed politely to send Sae-byul away. After resolving the problem here, Sae-byul found the paparazzi again. Sae-byul gave her Eun-byul's cell phone. The evidence was kept in it. Sae-byul wanted her to tell the truth. Sae-byul doesn't want Byul to continue to be attacked by public opinion. The company received bad reviews because Eun-byul hired a guardian to sign a contract, so Eun-byul couldn't stand the pressure of public opinion and disappeared. Sae-byul went to her and her sister's secret base. Eun-byul apologized to Sae-byul for her mistakes, and the two hugged each other. That evening, Sae-byul took Eun-byul to Dae-hyun's house. Dae-hyun's mother believed Sae-byul, but if she did anything wrong, she should reflect on herself and ask for forgiveness. In the future, Dae-hyun's mother will supervise Sae-byul doing this. Sae-byul was emotional as she ate and cried. The paparazzi made an appointment to meet Ji-uk. Ji-uk made an appointment to meet her in front of Sae-byul's father's altar. Sae-byul's father was Ji-uk's master in the past, but unfortunately, he passed away in a traffic accident. Without him, Ji-uk wouldn't be where she is today. So Ji-uk wanted to repay him by taking care of Sae-byul and her younger sister. Ji-uk really liked Sae-byul, but was not reciprocated. The paparazzi reviewed the videos on Eun-byul's phone and found out that Sae-byul was indeed misunderstood. So she looked for good news about Sae-byul's father again. Finally, she decided to tell the truth, starting with the fact that Sae-byul's father was a good person and good deeds. Then, introduced Sae-byul and her sister's background, along with her relationship with Ji-uk. Sae-byul ran everywhere looking for Dae-hyun. At this moment, she just wanted to hug him. He also praised her for doing a good job, and her father's soul in heaven would be proud. Reading the news, Dae-hyun discovered that he had studied in Sae-byul's father's martial arts class. Because of his trust in Dae-hyun, Sae-byul advised him to work at the headquarters. The two had been through a lot, so Sae-byul also believed in Dae-hyun's heart. Dae-hyun returned to the company. From now on, He would stand on the position of the franchise store to make more suggestions to the company. Ji-yook went to the convenience store to find Satbyul. He was wondering whether to go abroad to develop or not. Satbyul encouraged him to fly to a wider sky, having a famous friend who could be bragged about everywhere. Ji-yook immediately understood Satbyul's intention that the two would just stop being friends. Satbyul hugged Ji-yook to say goodbye. After work, Daehyun bought a bouquet of tulips for Satbyul, and the two slowly approached each other to continue the work that had not been completed before. Daehyun returned to the company. Only then did Yeonju realize that Daehyun was such a good man. So Yeonju wanted to start over with Daehyun. Yeonju went to the convenience store and witnessed Daehyun giving flowers to Satbyul. Satbyul also accepted the flowers, but Daehyun hesitated. In fact, this bouquet of flowers was given to Satbyul not only to wish her good grades in the exam, but also to move forward with another relationship with her. Suddenly, Dae-soon stepped in to break things up. Daehyun angrily looked at his sister. Daehyun would go to work at the company, so Dae-soon would help out at the convenience store. Seeing the two still standing there, Dae-soon tactfully let them continue what had not been finished just now. The atmosphere was no longer there, so he could only find another opportunity. Yeonju went home to drink with her mother. She said that at first, Daehyun accepted the blame for her, and then he voluntarily resigned. It was Sung-joon who made Daehyun do this. Yeonju told her mother that she would get back together with Daehyun one more time. Yeonju's mother reminded her to stay calm and not to take risks. Yeonju angrily said that her mother did not know what the best choice for her was, but kept pairing her up with Sung-joon. The purpose was only to satisfy her mother's selfishness. Eunbyul's company representative came to find Satbyul. At this time, Eunbyul and Daehyun's father were at home. With cucumber facial masks and enjoying life, Eunbyul received the notice and ran to the convenience store immediately. The representative told her what the group was for leaving on her own. Eunbyul thanked the company for not kicking her out of the girl group. The members also came to welcome her back. Daehyun returned to the company with the expectations of the franchise owners. Sung-joon gave Daehyun a difficult problem. The first franchise owner, a certain Kim, will have his contract expire next month. Mr. Kim decided to join their company's rival. Sung-joon hoped that Daehyun would convince Mr. Kim to continue working with their company. Daehyun went to Mr. Kim's convenience store. What Satbyul was worried about happened. Daehyun needed to resolve this issue with Yeonju. As soon as Mr. Kim heard that Daehyun was an employee of the headquarters, he immediately pushed the two people out. Yeonju couldn't stand on her high heels and fell towards Daehyun. Daehyun took the promise to heart not to get too close to Yeonju. Daehyun fell but quickly got up. Yeonju was forced to take Daehyun to the hospital. Daehyun deliberately kept his distance from her. The conversation between the two was also polite. Daehyun suddenly remembered that he had left his documents at Mr. Kim's store, so he returned to the convenience store again. Mr. Kim was about to close the store and go to the hospital. Daehyun volunteered to help him watch the store. After finishing her homework, Satbyul called Daehyun and checked her answers. Daehyun still brought the answer book with him when he worked outside to correct Satbyul's homework. Satbyul improved a lot. Daehyun gave her advice on how to prepare for the college entrance exam after passing the entrance exam. She doesn't need to worry about tuition because he will pay for her. Dae-soon comes to the store to help and takes this opportunity to eat and drink without paying. She even takes the money from the cashier. Satbyul is furious but can't do anything. Daehyun's father's friends gathered together to go find his first love. Unexpectedly, these three people remembered the wrong airport. When they rushed to another airport, they bumped into a woman outside the door. Judging from her appearance, this person is most likely Mrs. Jong-mi. Daehyun's father has no money and only knows how to do housework. Sure enough, the woman at the airport is Mrs. Jong-mi. She called Daehyun's father as soon as she got off the plane to make an appointment to meet him. Daehyun's father finally met his first love again. He lied that he was running a convenience store and was married. He had a prosperous life and had a son and a daughter. Mrs. Jong-mi opened a restaurant and relied on her daughter. Because her daughter was about to return to Korea to take wedding photos, she came back. The reason she met Daehyun's father this time was to repay her debt. Daehyun's father took the risk of taking money from his father's safe to lend her. After that, Mrs. Jong-mi took the money and disappeared. Daehyun's father didn't want to get the money back, but when he saw Mrs. Jong-mi return a total of 10 million won to him, his attitude changed. This amount was more than the amount she had borrowed at first, but Daehyun's father still reached out to take the money. Mrs. Jong-mi touched Daehyun's father's hand, making him excited and wanting to reach out to return the favor, but she pulled her hand back. Mrs. Jong-mi said that she wanted to see her best friend again. Daehyun's father didn't admit that his wife was her best friend. Unexpectedly, his wife went to the hotel to meet Yeonju's mother. The two people meeting made Daehyun's father scared. He only dared to say that he came to visit his old friend. Daehyun's father secretly looked looked around, greeted Mrs. Jongmi with hand gestures, and left the hotel. Yeonju's mother said that Daehyun was able to return to the headquarters to work thanks to Yeonju. If Daehyun had returned to the company, he should not continue to run the convenience store, but should devote himself to it. It seemed that Yeonju's mother listened to her daughter and began to encourage Daehyun to improve. This was also the reason why Daehyun's mother thought a lot when she got home. Now that Daehyun had returned to the company, being distracted in the convenience store would only limit his development. Moreover, Daehyun was tired from working all day, and having to go back to the store after work was not good either. She asked her husband which friend he had met at the hotel. Daehyun's father accidentally revealed that someone had come to pay him. Seeing that it was not good, he quickly ran back to his room. Daehyun's mother scolded her husband for lending money to women again. Setbyul worked and memorized new words. When Setbyul saw Daesun coming to help, Setbyul quickly blocked the door and forbade her from entering. Daesun was unhappy because she was a major shareholder of the store. It was thanks to her investment that the store was opened. That's why Setbyul had to protect the convenience store even more. Setbyul strictly forbade Daesun to come here to use free stuff and steal. For Daehyun, the convenience store was as important as life, so he would open other similar stores. Setbyul would help him fulfill this wish. After saying that, she went into the store and locked the door. Daesun could only leave. Daehyun came to the convenience store after work. Setbyul sprayed disinfectant on him to kill his ex-girlfriend's bacteria. Daehyun opened his arms and let Setbyul do so. Daehyun felt unwell but still came to take over the shift. He let Setbyul go home to rest. Luckily, when Setbyul came back again, she saw Daehyun with a high fever and collapsed on the table. Daehyun collapsed from exhaustion. Because of this, his mother became even more determined to close the convenience store. After saying that, Daehyun's mother told Setbyul to go home and rest because tomorrow she had to take an aptitude test. Setbyul studied while worrying about Daehyun. When Daehyun's fever subsided, he called Setbyul to reassure her that she would take the exam. He also taught her a test tip, which was to choose C if she didn't know how to choose multiple choice questions. Setbyul went to the exam room the next day. She ate the rice cake that Daehyun bought with great relish. After the exam, Setbyul ran straight to the hospital. Yeonju, as the company representative, told Daehyun's mother that the D company would cover all medical expenses. The company also proposed to convert Daehyun's convenience store into a directly operated store. That means the company would take over the convenience store and give Daehyun a portion of the sales. If Daehyun were to stop working for the company one day, they would sign a contract to become a franchise store. This way, Daehyun wouldn't have to be too tired. Daehyun's mother thought it wasn't so bad, so she told Yeonju's mother to say the same thing. At this time, Setbyul had already arrived at the hospital. Daehyun's mother rushed out to let Setbyul take care of him. Yeonju told Setbyul that they were considering turning the convenience store into a direct-run store for Daehyun's health. After all, convenience stores are open anytime, but a good job is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yeonju went to the hospital room to check on Daehyun's injured wrist. When he tried to save Setbyul and pushed Yeonju away, Yeonju realized that he was injured because of Setbyul. Daehyun woke up and worriedly asked Setbyul how the competition went. He also said that he would buy her delicious food. Yeonju could only leave in despair. Daehyun's parents mentioned converting the convenience store into a direct-run model first. Daehyun didn't agree, but his parents persuaded him enthusiastically. Daehyun didn't dare say anything more. Setbyul was working and remembered what Daehyun said. She also didn't know which option was better for Daehyun. Daehyun went to find Yeonju. He didn't like how she kept persuading his parents. If he had to choose between the two, he would choose to open a convenience store and give up his position at the company. Yeonju told him that thanks to his persistence, Mr. Kim planned to renew his contract with the company. This is enough to prove that Daehyun shines at work. He can help the franchise owners more. After talking to Yeonju, Daehyun takes Setbyul out for delicious food to celebrate her passing the exam. The company asks Daehyun to put all his efforts into work, so the convenience store becomes a directly operated store. Promote Setbyul from manager to assistant store manager. But in Daehyun's eyes, the convenience store is his life. Setbyul is worried about Daehyun's future, so she supports him to stay at the headquarters. Setbyul once said that becoming a store manager was her dream. Because she only has a middle school education, she is not qualified to be a deputy store manager. But now, the company is willing to give her a chance. So if Daehyun returns to manage the convenience store, wouldn't he be hindering Setbyul? But Daehyun is worried that the new manager will make things difficult for Setbyul. On this side, Yeonju told department head Seo to go to the convenience store to work. His mission was to chase away Setbyul. After completing the mission, he could return to the company immediately. After the meal, Daehyun took Setbyul to a secret place he had prepared in advance. Actually, the last time Daehyun gave Setbyul red tulips. He knew that the language of flowers was a confession. Daehyun used to think that love at first sight was love, but now he has changed his mind. The two of them walking together and accumulating little by little is also a kind of fate. Setbyul is very precious and special to him. Daehyun also wants to exist like that next to Setbyul. But Setbyul did not answer right away because she wanted to give him an answer after she passed the exam. Daehyun admitted that Setbyul had been with him for so long, so now he should be the one waiting. Mrs. Jungmi went to the convenience store to find Daehyun's father, but this scared him. If his wife saw him, he would definitely be beaten. This time, Mrs. Jungmi wanted him to help her find a close friend. That person was none other than Daehyun's mother. Daehyun's father never told Mrs. Jungmi that the close friend was his wife. Daehyun returned with Setbyul and just in time heard his father talking. Daehyun was surprised when his father said that his father didn't know his mother, but before he could finish speaking, his father covered his mouth. Mrs. Jungmi praised Daehyun for being handsome. When Daehyun knew that the woman in front of him was named Mrs. Jungmi, he immediately remembered the night his father got drunk and talked in his father's sleep that I love Jungmi. Only then did Daehyun know that this was his father's first love. Daehyun's father took Mrs. Jungmi away and promised to help her find her best friend. That's why she left with peace of mind. Daehyun thought that his father's behavior was inappropriate. How could he lie to his first love that he didn't know his wife? Daehyun's father said that Mrs. Jungmi was his first love and his wife's best friend, so she definitely didn't want to see this scene. Setbyul thought of what Daehyun's mother had said, that she had a best friend who left without saying goodbye once, 40 years ago. Daehyun was angry that his father hid from his mother the fact that his father's first love had returned to the country. Daehyun told his father to watch the store while he and Setbyul would go home soon. When Daehyun got home, he saw his mother's shoes at the door and felt heartbroken, so he went in to help her massage her feet. When Setbyul got back to his room, she lay on the bed and couldn't stop giggling. Setbyul felt a little regretful for not immediately accepting Daehyun's confession to her tonight. Even though she had gotten the position of deputy store manager that she had always wanted, she still felt uneasy. At this time, Daehyun sent her a text message asking her to go eat instant noodles. The two of them sneaked downstairs but were caught by Daehyun's mother. The two of them signaled to each other to wait for his mother to leave before eating. Daehyun's mother mistakenly thought that the two of them were dancing, so she joined in and twisted her body. She had no intention of going to the bathroom to prepare for bed, so they had to return to their room and start texting. The two of them decided to use sign language to say great, meaning they wanted to meet, and strawberry, meaning they couldn't. After saying goodnight to each other, they both smiled foolishly. The next day, Yeonju signed the contract to transfer Daehyun's store. Daehyun had something to do, so he left first. He said goodbye to Setbyul with loving eyes. They both used hand signals to greet each other. Daehyun's mother asked about his work performance at the company. Yeonju praised Daehyun, making his mother happy. Daehyun's mother patted Yeonju hard. Yeonju gave Daehyun Setbyul a green bag. She smiled because of the designer bag. Seeing this scene, Setbyul immediately went to clean up outside the store. Before leaving, Yeonju thanked Setbyul because without her, Yeonju wouldn't have even realized that Daehyun was a treasure. Setbyul received a call from the police station saying that the scammer had been arrested. Setbyul was so excited that she immediately went to the police station. The police told the victims that the money they were scammed would be returned after completing the procedures. The guy next to her asked where Setbyul lived. When he found out that she was living at his manager's house, he said that the family must have felt uncomfortable. Even though she didn't say it, she definitely felt uncomfortable because they weren't relatives. Knowing that Daehyun's family considered Setbyul as family, she was still hurt by those words. So she went online to check her fortune today to see if she should move out. Daehyun slowly approached Setbyul from behind, startling her. Setbyul wanted to tell Daehyun that the scammer had been caught, but she couldn't open her mouth. If everyone knew, she would have no reason to stay at his house anymore. The two were eating pizza when Daehyun received a text message. Chief So would be transferred to the convenience store as a manager. Daehyun was worried that Setbyul would be bullied. Daehyun said that if Chief Seo gave her a hard time, she could tell him he would handle it. Setbyul thought that Daehyun was trustworthy because he always stood by her unconditionally. Gumbi and Dalsik started dating. They went to the convenience store first because they wanted to get their good friend's blessing. Dalsik was dragged into the convenience store by Gumbi. Daehyun thought that Dalsik was bullying Gumbi, so he went to teach his good friend a lesson. Gumbi is not happy that her man is being beaten, but these two people keep holding each other's hands and won't let go. They also admit that they are dating. Daehyun and Setbyul chatted privately with their friends, but Dalsik kept looking at Gumbi with a loving gaze. Since Dalsik already had a girlfriend, he told Daehyun to quickly confess to Setbyul so that the four of them could have a party party together. Sae-byul decided to wait until she received the money she had been scammed before telling Daehyun's family. At this time, Daehyun's family went to the convenience store to clean up. Sae-byul would also join in. Just as they started cleaning, Daehyun's mother received a call from a customer, so she immediately went to the customer's house to discuss work. A moment later, Jang-mi came to the convenience store. She had to stay in Korea for another day to find her best friend. She asked Daehyun's father to give her the letter she wrote to her best friend before she left 40 years ago. As soon as she left Korea, she wrote a letter, but it was returned. Daehyun's mother was scammed by the customer, so she returned to the store. Daehyun's father quickly pulled Jang-mi into the warehouse and tremblingly told her not to go out because his wife was back. Jang-mi was confused and didn't understand anything. Daehyun's mother was outside, ready to start cleaning the warehouse. Daehyun and Sae-byul quickly stopped her. Seeing that, Daehyun's mother knew that there must be something hidden in the warehouse. At this time, Daehyun's father walked out of the warehouse and said that he had finished cleaning inside. The more Daehyun's mother thought about it, the more she felt that there was a problem, so she quickly sneaked in. Looking at the woman in front of her, she still didn't recognize who was. Jang-mi introduced herself, and finally the two close friends recognized each other. Jang-mi also knew that the two were husband and wife. She also asked Daehyun's father why he didn't tell her. Daehyun's mother understood that Jang-mi had returned to Korea and had met her husband at a coffee shop, but he said he didn't know her. Not long ago, Daehyun's father asked to go abroad, but it turned out that he wanted to find his first love. Daehyun's father trembled in a corner, not daring to say anything. His wife was shocked by this and went home to drink soju alone. At that moment, Yeonju called to say that the convenience store procedures were completed. Yeonju even took the initiative to invite her out for a drink alcohol. While Daehyun and Sae-byul were eating noodles at home, Yeonju brought Daehyun's drunk mother home. Daehyun's mother praised her son for being a good person. She didn't need a husband or friends, just her children were enough. She also thanked Yeonju for taking her home because she was too drunk. Daehyun's mother kissed Yeonju on the forehead and told Daehyun to take her home. After the two left, Sae-byul felt very uncomfortable, but she still took care of Daehyun's mother who was drunk. Daehyun's mother mistook Sae-byul for Yeonju and asked her to take care of Daehyun. Sae-byul could only be sad alone. The next day, Daehyun's mother persuaded her son to give Yeonju a chance. The two still had time to make up. Sae-byul was afraid that Daehyun would be in a difficult situation, so she told him to go see Yeonju once. After that, Sae-byul bought another bouquet of tulips for Daehyun's father to give to his wife, hoping that she would forgive him. Daehyun's father told Sae-byul to rest assured because he still had a trick he had not used yet, only to see Daehyun's father hand over the money. Mrs. Jang-mi returned to his wife to show his innocence. He only went to see Mrs. Jang-mi to get the money back. After that, he took the bouquet of tulips that Sae-byul bought for his wife, but his wife didn't care. She asked him why he wanted to go find Jang-mi. Daehyun's father looked like he was about to cry. The more he did, the more wrong he was. He just wanted his wife to beat him up so she wouldn't be angry. Daehyun's mother was still angry. She told her husband to take the money and marry a few more wives. This bad man wasn't worth her regret. Daehyun's father hugged his wife's thigh and desperately begged for forgiveness. Daehyun's mother used her palm to hit him to the ground and then went out to relieve herself. Jang-mi went to the convenience store and saw Daehyun's mother passing by. That year, Jang-mi suddenly disappeared because there was something difficult to say. Daehyun's mother interrupted Jang-mi's words. Jang-mi didn't say anything more, but just took out a letter from 40 years ago to let Daehyun's mother read the content. Then Jang-mi pulled her suitcase and left. Daehyun's mother read the letter. It turned out that Jang-mi had told her the reason why Jang-mi left. Jang-mi went to China because she wanted to pursue her crush. Inside the letter, there was also a photo of the two of them together on a picnic. Daehyun's mother looked at the photo and lamented that she had burst into youthful vitality, but now she was living like this. Daehyun listened to his mother and invited Yeonju to dinner to thank her for help. Yeonju apologized for her past actions. She also expressed her feelings to him. Daehyun refused because he only wanted to be colleagues with Yeonju. Sae-byul was waiting for Daehyun to return. Daehyun returned and took the initiative to spray disinfectant on himself to kill the ex-girlfriend virus in all directions. The two went home together. As soon as he entered the door, Daehyun's mother asked what he and Yeonju had eaten. If he had grilled meat, he should invite Yeonju to eat beef, not pork. Only the best beef could match Yeonju's level. It was obvious that she wanted the two to get back together. Daehyun was a little annoyed and asked his mother to stop. Sae-byul could only go upstairs first. As soon as she left, Daehyun argued with her mother. Their family was insulted by Yeonju's family, so how could they forget so quickly? As someone who had experienced it, Daehyun's mother was not surprised by such things. She said, "So what?" Thanks to Yeonju's mother, she became a sales queen and lived a good life. This was the most important important thing. If Daehyun got back with Yeonju, he would have a bright future. When the two of them drank soju together last night, Daehyun's mother felt Yeonju's sincerity. She thought that the two of them could reconcile. Sait-Byul, who was upstairs, heard them arguing and felt guilty. She felt that everything was her fault. The next day, department head Seo moved Sait-Byul's desk. He thought it was an obstacle in the store. The short-haired co-worker deliberately asked Sait-Byul which university she graduated from. Sait-Byul replied that you clearly knew that I hadn't graduated from high school yet. You still asked on purpose. This co-worker was really unpleasant. She wanted to shake hands with Sait-Byul. Their hands were tightly clasped together, but Sait-Byul's face was expressionless. The short-haired girl was almost in pain when Sait-Byul only used a little force. Showing authority didn't work, so department head So thought of another way to make Sait-Byul rearrange all the new items on the shelves. Sait-Byul had no choice but to comply. After finishing the queue, Sait-Byul lay down on the sofa in the warehouse, exhausted. She thought of Daehyun. He bought her a desk and silently held her when she was cheated out of money. Now Sait-Byul was the only one left in the convenience store. When Sait-Byul got home, she saw Daehyun's mother lying collapsed on the bed. She confided in Sait-Byul that she just didn't want her son to live like her. Her husband couldn't rely on savings, let alone anything. So, the only person she could rely on was Daehyun. Seeing her sad like that, Sait-Byul was also very embarrassed. Sait-Byul advised Daehyun to listen to his mother, but he refused. He had always been a good son, but this time he couldn't. Sait-Byul didn't want Daehyun to argue with his parents because of her. She hoped he would continue to be a good son like before. She still blamed herself that if it weren't for her, Daehyun wouldn't be like this. So she packed her bags and left that night. Before leaving, she glanced at the two elderly people sleeping and thanked them for taking care of her all this time. Then she looked at Daehyun. Every moment with him was happy. Daehyun dreamed that Sait-Byul ran away with the convenience store manager. Daehyun couldn't move, so he screamed on the spot. He woke up from the dream and still said not to go. The next day he found out that Sait-Byul had left because he saw the gift and letter on the bed. The letter said that the relationship between the two of them ended here. Everyone would start over, and she also said that the money that was scammed was recovered. So now it was time for her to leave. Sait-Byul worked at the flower market in her hometown. Now she could be with her favorite flowers, and the beautiful scenery here made her feel more comfortable. The most important thing was that there was no convenience store here. Daehyun went to the police station to ask if there was anything strange about Sait-Byul coming here 2 days ago, but he asked for a while, but still got nothing. When Daehyun passed by the convenience store, he saw Chief Seo working inside. Daehyun reminisced about the time he spent with Sait-Byul. Dal-sik and Gumbi also received news that Dal-sik's parents are forcing him to go on blind dates because they think men need to get married to settle down. Dal-sik tells his parents that he has a girlfriend, but they don't believe him at all. Gumbi thinks it's time to take the initiative. Sait-Byul works until late at night. She witnesses her boss's son being blackmailed by a classmate, and so she steps in to help. The guy not only didn't thank Sait-Byul, but was angry because Sait-Byul had provoked someone he shouldn't have. He would definitely have a hard time in the future. Sait-Byul felt like her way of thinking was becoming more and more like Daehyun's. Just as she thought of Daehyun, he called her at the right time. Sait-Byul refused the call. The two of them lived apart but did the same thing in different places. Just eating noodles made them miss each other. The next day Dal-sik took Gumbi back to his hometown to meet his parents. Unexpectedly, Dal-sik was a rich young man. Dal-sik's father could see clearly his son's personality. He thought that Dal-sik was not worthy of Gumbi. Gumbi had good conditions, so he went on a blind date. He knew many good men that he could introduce to Gumbi. Dal-sik saw Sait-Byul on the side of the road and jumped out of the car. Then he pulled Gumbi into the greenhouse. Sure enough, the person he saw was Sait-Byul. Dal-sik immediately contacted Daehyun. Daehyun found Sait-Byul and said that the two of them would not end because this was just the beginning. Before he could finish, the students from last time brought their boss to teach Sait-Byul a lesson. Daehyun invited them to go because he was talking about something important, but the boss wouldn't let him go that easily. Daehyun told Sait-Byul to choose. 1. Daehyun would show a different side of him that he had never shown before. 2. He would use the side of a monk to show everyone. Sait-Byul immediately chose 1. Daehyun observed his opponent's steps and punching posture and successfully avoided the fatal blow. Sait-Byul was excitedly praising him for being cool, but he was knocked out before he could even show off for 3 seconds. Sait-Byul had no choice but to go into battle. Finally, the two of them had a chance to be alone together. Daehyun expressed his feelings. He will wait for Sait-Byul to come back and give him an answer. He said Sait-Byul is family, not an outsider. From now on, he will not call, text or disturb Sait-Byul's life anymore, but he will reply to Sait-Byul's calls and messages immediately. Before leaving, he said that he saw Sait-Byul in the gym 10 years ago. At that time, Sait-Byul thanked him. Thank you Daehyun for saving her life. After hearing this, Daehyun immediately wanted to help others. While Sepbyul was lying in the dormitory looking at Daehyun's handsome pictures, she began to wonder if he didn't call or text her. So how would she know if he was waiting for her or not? While thinking like that, Daehyun sent a great picture, meaning he wanted to meet. Daehyun's father's friends came to the store. They thought that Chief Seo was a thief and beat him up. Daehyun's father arrived in time to clear up the misunderstanding. Daehyun invited Yeonju to dinner to thank her for promoting him. After a few polite and courteous words, he said that he would resign. For Daehyun, the convenience store is his home and what he wants to do the most. After saying that, he took out his resignation letter and gave it to Yeonju. Yeonju took the opportunity to propose getting back together, but he refused. Yeonju was sad, so she asked her mother to eat at a roadside restaurant. The two talked and drank. Yeonju said she was about to apply to an American company to develop overseas. The next day, Yeonju's mother came to see Daehyun's mother. It was clear that she had given Daehyun's family a chance, but they missed. It wasn't because of his ability that he was given such a good position, but it was a reward because in the past, Daehyun had helped Yeonju admit her mistakes. Even resigned from the company, Daehyun's mother now knew that her son had such a past, and she also understood that Yeonju had hidden her identity to date Daehyun all this time because she was afraid that their family had bad intentions. Daehyun's mother told the other person to be honest when in love. Her son resigned from his job for the woman he loved and poured out his heart and soul. That is called love. But some people are not honest enough and hide things. Now Daehyun's mother thinks that wanting him and Yeonju to get back together is ridiculous. Although their family has no money, they have self-respect. After saying that, she went to pay the bill so Yeonju's mother could take the change as a tip. Back at the convenience store, Daehyun posted a recruitment notice on the door. He also confessed to his parents that Sepbyul left because she didn't want to hinder his future. His mother suddenly realized that she had always persuaded her son to get back with Yeonju in front of Sepbyul. So, it was all her fault. Even so, Daehyun's mother still thought that her son shouldn't give up. He shouldn't live like his parents. Daehyun never thought that way. He was never ashamed of his parents. Even though they argued every day, they still relied on each other and couldn't live without each other. He felt very happy. Daehyun cleaned the convenience store thoroughly. Sepbyul's special desk was also put back in its original place. Every day, he waited for Sepbyul to come back in the store. After working for 32 hours straight, Daehyun felt dizzy, so he went inside to rest. But he was afraid that Sepbyul wouldn't find him when he returned. He hadn't even laid down yet when he heard someone walking in. Daehyun ran out to see that it was his father's friend. He took a picture of the grape drink again and sent it to Sepbyul. Sepbyul was torn whether to reply to the message or not. Then, she received a notification to send a certificate of equivalent professional qualifications. The delivery address was Daehyun's house. Sepbyul wondered whether she should go back to get the certificate. In the end, she sneaked to Daehyun's door and opened the mailbox to look for it and heard Daehyun's parents returning. Daehyun's mother took the letter from the mailbox and saw Sepbyul's certificate. Although the score wasn't very high, she still passed. The two thought of Sepbyul and worried about Daehyun because after he quit his job, he stayed at the convenience store all night. When Sepbyul heard that, she jumped out in surprise. Daehyun's mother hugged Sepbyul and said that it was because I didn't understand your feelings that I let you go. Daehyun passed out after working for 40 hours straight. Sepbyul went to the convenience store and saw the recruitment notice in front of the door. Below the note with the application requirements was Sepbyul's name. Sepbyul entered the convenience store and knocked on the table to apply for the job. To prove that it wasn't a dream, Daehyun pinched Sepbyul's face. The two compared who missed each other more. For Daehyun, the products in the convenience store all had Sepbyul's face. Sepbyul said that every flower in the flower market had Daehyun's handsome face. Sepbyul promised Daehyun that she wouldn't leave again. She would cling to him. Daehyun took the initiative to hug Sepbyul. Dalsik finished the ending of the unfinished series and also thought of the content for the new series, which was about the convenience store. The romantic comedy between Sepbyul and the store manager. In the end, Daehyun's mother was re-elected as the sales queen. Eun Bile's group participated in a music program. Before going on stage, she fell and had a nosebleed. This time, she wiped it away and bravely moved forward. Sepbyul also replied to Daehyun that to her, Daehyun was a special existence. When the two were about to kiss, she covered the screen with her hand so that the audience could not see. And that was the end of the drama. Thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye, and see you again.